Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. How with the gang we packing? We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fool with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoes, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas key. You with me, sheesh. Bonito, cheap, Keith.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Hop in the car, watch it go vroom, vroom. I told her mom that I blow soon, soon. Knew as a child back in the womb. Oh, told her step back, I need my broom, vroom. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom. I'm in a whip, so I gotta zoom. They tryna talk, they not in the room. I been so real, I'm dead to the tomb. They in the way, they gotta move. I got a gas, they running them fumes. Told them way back, it's something new. It's me and Dan, you gotta choose. I'm taking what's mine, I'm doing fine. Don't see the vision, they looking so blind. I hit my lawyer, I don't got the time. Crossing my T's and he dotting those eyes. Don't take offense if I do not oblige. I can't be labeled like none of these guys. They hit me once and I'm cutting the ties. I was so low, but I'm back on the rise, it's real. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom, vroom. I told her mom that I blow soon, soon. Knew as a child back in the womb. Oh, told her step back, I need my broom, vroom. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom. I'm hopping now I gotta go. I'm looking back, they not even close. I had a 4, now I need a ghost. I got a wave like I'm on the coast. Same ones are down and I dare the show. So way that I'm ballin', they think I'm a pro. I'm getting sick by the money I gross. They saying whoa, I told them all what this is. I told them all I don't miss. Said it's my time, look at this shit on my wrist. And when they shootin' this brace, I'm going in a new gig, gotta shift. I cannot stick to the script, I cannot wait. Watch how I get it and flip. It's just how I'm doing this shit and I'm gone. Just how I'm doing this shit and I'm gone. Ayy, just how I'm doing this shit and I'm gone.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What is going on, Mafia? Bitcoin struggling to hold our key level of support, which is the 786. Sitting at about $109,523. What is coming next? Are we going to be able to get a bounce? Well, if you guys tuned into pretty much any stream this week, we have been looking for lower highs and lower lows. We have seen that play out. And I'm just going to say off the rip here, guys. I'm going to talk about a potential local bounce incoming, but we do have some key levels of resistance where we can continue to look for lower highs and lower lows in anticipation of potentially grabbing that liquidity below $107,000. Is it likely? What is the probabilities? Is the bull market over? I'm not really going to cover the bull market today, but we'll cover all those key levels. We have some local levels of resistance as well as the big level of resistance in case we get some kind of crazy pump over the weekend for some reason. We will talk about those bigger levels of resistance that, if broken, could potentially see us give a bigger move up. But I am going to say right off the bat that is my lower probability outcome there. So we'll show you the bullish case, we'll show you the bearish case, and I'll let you guys know which way I'm leaning. Shout out to Osgun in the chat, said liquidity. What the heck is liquidity? But yeah, we'll take a look at the heat maps with you guys. What is going on? We got Skizzle in the chat. TDK dropping the goats. What is up, Alex? Welcome in. We got Falco in the chat. Said that was a 5'2" entrance. You guys just see me. I start the stream. I'm just like this. I'm just like. I'm just like climbing onto my chair. But yeah, shout out to you guys. I am a total of 5'2", guys. 5'2". Now, when you guys meet me in real life, you're gonna be like, what the heck? Talk to you for 5'2", bro. But yeah, shout out to everybody in here. Thank you for being here, Mafia. I appreciate every single one of you guys. And we are going to be doing a giveaway tonight. I believe we got 10 bags of USDT. I'll let Tony decide. It's either going to be Cardano or USDT, but I think we're going to shuffle over to USDT. It's just a little bit simpler to do. So we will be doing those giveaways at the end of the stream. So stick around to the end. Smash that like button. Be active in chat because pretty sure the activity in chat is what makes you eligible for the giveaways. Shout out to Nightbot, everybody's favorite robot. But yeah, we got Maxie in the chat. Said here, Max from Argentina. Shout out to Max. Welcome in, bro. Thank you for being here. Time for some self-reflection. Shout out to Still Working. Dave in the chat. What is going on? Not Dave Digital, but Dave Hagen. New Earth Guardian says, I don't use the heat map. I use liquidation levels indicator is way more accurate. Shout out to New Earth Guardian. Yes, the liquidation heat maps are never going to give you exactly. They're not 100% accurate, but really the way I like to find my liquidity is just understanding where buyers and sellers are, and identifying where those stop losses would be. I think that is the most accurate way And there are some really, really good indicators out there. Some of them made by Luxalgo, actually free, to look at those liquidity levels that could kind of help you identify where that would be. But I am always giving that kind of secondary analysis on where I personally think that liquidity is sitting based off market structure, highs, lows, sweeps, etc. So shout out to New Earth Guardian. The heat maps are just kind of like giving you an idea of where you would where they are likely sitting. They're never 100% accurate, but they can just kind of give you a general idea of where like a bunch of liquidity might be sitting. At 107K. Based off my analysis and the heat maps, we definitely do have that liquidity sitting there, and I'll go over that with you guys. Shout out to Perry in the chat. We got Jesse, our like police, guys. Don't forget to smash that like button. The more likes, the more free money. I'm just kidding. We're going to be giving away the money anyway, but smash that like button if you appreciate the free content. And without further ado, we got a lot to look at. Shout out to AM, said what happened with the poll the other day. Yes, guys, I am considering shuffling the live stream a little bit earlier in the day. It's much better with my schedule, and the poll yesterday was overwhelming about doing the earlier stream. So we may, I don't know, we're going to probably move some things around and potentially get up here a little bit earlier. We'll probably run into the 5:45 time anyway. Stay tuned for that. You guys will see me start popping up on YouTube a little earlier, very likely. Crypto is making my heart patient. Yeah, shout out to Armin. Yeah, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts, guys. I'll break down what I'm seeing here. So let's go ahead and let's just get into it. All right. So here we are, guys. Obviously, as we have filled this entire volume profile, let me hide these local levels real quick. We will come back to those in just a minute. But obviously, guys, just an overall kind of update here. Continuing to reject, right? Bitcoin just kind of super choppy today, just kind of sitting down here, struggling to hold that the full 786 of this entire move up. But overall, we have gotten the rejection from our golden pocket here, pulled from the absolute high to the absolute low, giving us the opportunity to short that high. Yes, I am still holding the short position. We shorted that high in the premium Discord, but as we approach here, we had some key levels of support, one of them being our full golden pocket 786 Fibonacci retracement. We got a little bounce off that golden pocket that we covered yesterday. I'm going to take this off the chart because we have now run right through that. And our last level here, guys, was that 786. This is going to be the key level, just starting right off the gate here. This is your key level to hold as support. Let me go ahead and change the settings here really, really quickly. No. I'm just clicking all the wrong buttons here, guys. There we go. And I will just extend this over. So sitting right here on the 786 at about $109,501, about $109,500. This is the key level to get above, guys, because if we are going to look for this local trend to continue, right, with a high or a low, a high, a higher low, and a higher high, you are hoping to get above this 786. And we have covered this many times in the past. If we lose this 786, guys, this is the doorway, in my opinion, if we can't get back above here, to break that structure down at $107,000, where we do have all this liquidity. Let me go ahead and drag this over here real quick. Bada boom. So we do have the liquidity sitting below $107,000. You can see it here on the heat map. Also logistically makes sense that we have liquidity down there. These liquidity levels do oftentimes act as a magnet for price, guys. Keep that in mind. So I am going to be looking at this. Are we going to be able to come down and sweep this? And I'll talk about kind of the reactions I would expect there. But as we take a look at this higher time frame, right, this is kind of a part of our overall bias ever since we had pretty much got up to this golden pocket retracement, right? We are looking at our money flow on the higher time frames, on time frames such as, I guess the 16-hour just generally coming out here, but moreover that, right? Daily money flow crossing into the red, 2-day money flow crossing over into the red, or looking to cross over into the red, not quite crossing over just yet, but generally money flow coming out. This is what gave us the idea of getting at least a rejection off this level, if not a potential break of structure to the downside to continue this downtrend, because money flow does indicate that longer-term trend, yada, yada, yada. We've covered this a million times, but it's important to understand the context here. A lot of people, it's a big reason why we were looking to short up here. We knew how big this golden pocket was. We knew that money flow was coming out, potentially giving us a final target on that short position of $107,000 and below, anticipating that continuation of the downtrend. So just simple long-term kind of outlook. There was, and potentially, I guess you could argue, still is a possibility of getting back above that 786 to continue the local trend to the upside. But even if we do get a bounce here, guys, over the long-term higher time frame money flow, still, same sentiment as yesterday and the day before and the day before. Lackluster bounces, lower highs and lower lows could still be in the cards here based off money flow. So that is what I'm looking at long term. But let's go ahead and dig into some of these lower time frame key levels of support and resistance. So obviously this is a little bit of a zone. We have that same 786 that we were looking at right here. It's the same exact fib sitting here at about $109,500. This is the key level to get above, right? We could potentially play around with this. But again, I don't know. I'm not looking at this as a massive level for new all-time highs. I'll talk about the bullish case as well. But we have the 786 and the value area low of the range. We broke down into the volume profile. Couldn't get out. We get back in, down to the POC, down to the low. And now we're just deviating below here. So it is not impossible, right? We did get some bullish divergences here. They are kind of wonky, if I'm being totally honest, right? Like massive, aggressive lower lows with your higher lows on your momentum waves, not really giving us the juice that we need just yet. But, if we see a local bounce, I want to talk about some of those local resistance levels because, again, if the longer-term context here is potentially seeing lower highs and lower lows, where are we going to be looking at? These are kind of generally the areas, but I will go over the exact levels with you guys. But just in simple terms here, right? Volume profile, we have our value area low sitting at $109,900, POC sitting up here at $111,242, and then that value area high sitting up here at $112,941. So if we are able to get up here over the weekend and we are able to see a little bit of relief, right? POC would be the next anticipated area for price to come into. And again, this is going to be one of our key levels of resistance in case of an aggressive continuation of the downtrend. But if we are able to get above here, I would say there is a high probability to come into that value area high to then again fill this range in full. Just a simple volume profile perspective, looking for the fill of the range to the upside, fill the range to the downside, and then if we can reclaim here, we could look upwards towards about 113K, right? 112,941. So those are the local levels that I would personally be looking at if we are able to get back up in here, right? And absolutely key to get above that 786. If we can't get above this value area low 786 zone, guys, like 107K is very likely in my opinion. We have the liquidity, and to be honest, there's not really anything else underneath us that can hold us up. I think we actually have a weekly MPOC here that we're tapping as well, so not too bad, right? Like you could actually extend this zone down a little bit, right? You could say the weekly MPOC and the 786 and value area low is a zone, but contextually, based off the Fibonacci retracements, right? Like this, you got to get entire above this entire zone. I just glitched out into the POC, into the value area high. Now, would this get me super excited for price? I mean, hey, this would be nice. I am not holding a long position as of right now. I'm not saying that I might not choose to take a long position here, but as of right now, I am only holding my short from the top here at about $117,000, right? It's the only trade I'm holding. But even if we do get up here, if I don't take a long position, my bias is still like I would be willing to add to my short position or potentially take new shorts at our key levels of resistance. And that begs the question of what are those key levels? Well, number one, we are just going to be looking at the POC when we're not looking at any other levels, right? Point of control is an area where we could potentially reject from. So you got to be careful around there. But more over just the POC, we do have a golden pocket confluent with this level as well. This is our local Fibonacci retracement from the lower high pulled to the lower low. First zone. It's not super confluent, but there is a little zone here between the POC and the golden pocket, sitting between 112.74 and 111.211. And then again, right, if we're going to come up here and put in a lower high, this is an area where that could come in at. We cover this all the time. 5-minute, 30-minute, 4-hour, daily. We always look at these Fibonacci retracements. Again, it's part of the reason why we were able to catch that short from the golden pocket. But if we're able to get above that golden pocket, I would just simply, if we get up here, we don't get any confirmations, right? We could flip this, stay above the point of control, and I'll be looking into the value area high, which does have much nicer confluence on that 786 and value area high, right? So these are the two major zones of resistance that I will be looking for rejections. And, I know a lot of people are probably saying like, well, hey, and we also have this anchored VWAP coming down here as well. What happens if we get above this? Is this the moon time, Frankie? Well, I'll tell you what. If we get above this value area high at about 113K, if we could flip this to support, still going to be pretty careful here, guys, because the full retracement from the high to the low sits right here at about 114,342. And the only reason, right, that I am looking at all these Fibonacci retracements for opportunities of lower highs and lower lows, remember, it's not just, we're not always looking at this, right? If I had money flow, say on the daily time frame, looking very nice with a big red wave about to cross over into the green, I'd feel a lot better about potentially looking for this to be a higher low and a higher high. But with money flow, front-running the anticipation of the continuation of the downtrend, we have to keep in mind all these Fibonacci retracement zones because these are where the lower highs are likely to come in at. Again, not to be repetitive, it's why we looked here, right? Because we knew this is the full golden pocket 786. This would be comparable, at least for the for this move, right? Pulled from this high to this low. Right? This Fibonacci retracement was pulled from the all-time high to the low. This Fibonacci that I'm showing you on the other chart right now is pulled from here to here, right? So when we look at this, it is sitting, but this would be the biggest level, right? This is the highest, the biggest level within this price action on this trend, sitting between 114,330 all the way up to 115,937, where we also have a weekly MPOC, and I believe there is a daily MPOC up there as well. So I would look at these as two separate levels, but the zone is really just sitting up here, full golden pocket retracement. If we go for a big retracement, right, you could just see, let me hide this lower range just to make it nice and simple. Let's just say we hold the weekly MPOC, right, and we get the push up, right, and we're not going to continue the clean, aggressive downtrend, and we go for that bigger retracement. We could potentially come all the way up here and still look for those lower highs and lower lows, meaning that this 786 sitting at 115,932 is going to be the doorway. No, not to all-time highs, but potentially if we get above that 786, maybe, just maybe, we could get accepted, pull it up here, back into our volume profile, and start pushing up through here. Now, again, I am going to be I would say, right, just looking at a higher time frame context here, if we get the bounce, right, this is still the higher probability scenario. Once we break above this 786, it opens the door not to all-time highs, but it will open the door into the POC, where we also have some liquidity sitting. Right, so it's like, are we going to flush out this liquidity first, or are we going to get the retracement and potentially come up and sweep this liquidity? Well, until we cross that 786, I'm not even really paying attention to this. But just to give you guys some, like, in the future levels, I don't know if, maybe we get some kind of mega pump over the weekend, but I would not be getting out of bed until we flip that 786, and then I would look up towards about 118.3 to 118.5. I would argue, right, if we get up here, we're kind of already rejecting this golden pocket. So if we get above this, right, the next level to look at is very clearly going to be the value area high 786. This is the doorway to all-time highs, in my opinion. This is not my anticipation, guys. I wish it could be, right? This would be the bullish case, right? We come up, right? We just, come up here, get above the value area low, flip into the POC, flip the POC, go to the value area high, and then boom, right? We could start cooking into all-time highs. This is not my base case, right? Based off of money flow. Right? Obviously anything can happen here. I wish I could say I had a crystal ball. I know exactly what's going to happen. And I know we call these moves very, very often. But I would not really be anticipating until we flip that 786, the higher probability situation, if we get the bigger retracement, is going to be this, right? And then you bring in the local levels, right? There's no guarantee that you have to come up to the golden pocket 786, just like here, right? We didn't have to come into the 786. We don't know if the lower high is going to come in on the golden pocket or the 786, but we know that this is the general zone where those lower highs come in at, right? So I can't say that we're definitely not going to reject the local levels that we just looked at, but in the most bullish case, right, we could even potentially see a push into 115 to almost 116K. But if we bring this back all the way here, right? When we looked at this price action, we had almost the exact same thing happening, right? We got the drop to the downside. We start getting bounces. What happens? You kind of squeak into that profile. But why couldn't we get accepted? Well, number one, money flow was crossing into the red here on the daily, right? Money flow crosses into the red. This gives you the bias of like, sure, you can get the bounce. That could be very nice, right? But you're going to be favoring that as a lower high, lower low scenario. And what do we reject here? Well, simply put, golden pocket 786, right? So it's very, very similar if you look at this price action, right? So it's like you could squeak into the profile a little bit, but you have that golden pocket 786. So just be aware of that. More often than not, I am looking for a flip of this value area low for a fulfill of the volume profile. But based off money flow, based off the context, I would definitely be careful of more of a situation like we saw back here. Where'd that go? Right here. No, I'm tripping. Right here. Right? You squeak in, you got the golden pocket 786, money flow is coming out, lower high, lower low. Same exact thing, right? Push in, right? Money flow is coming out, lower high, lower low. If the market is going to do what it's been doing lately, right, this money flow is probably going to chop up and start crossing into the green and be super confusing. But just to be aware here, guys, I am not personally long. Take that for what it's worth. But we do have technically, 1 hour money flow was looking a little bit better earlier today. We had the money flow trying to come up. We also had our 16-hour green dot looking to print, which is still potentially looking to print. So, I would say there is an opportunity for a bounce here. But again, I'm not longing based off that. We could get the retracement. I'm fine missing that move if I have to. No big deal. I'll just catch another move. But, if you're looking for a bounce to the upside from this level before sweeping our lows here at about 108,642, right? If you're looking for a bounce just from this level, I would look for the 16-hour green dot and that 1 hour money flow crossover into the green. But again, it's like we look at this tiny little range here. We have relative equal lows. it's just, these look like they want to get swept, in my opinion, right? It's kind of similar to what we had here, right? It's like you had these lows, you had the golden pocket just underneath you. It's like, I want to see that swept. And we did take that long position in the Discord as well. And what happens? You do come down and sweep those lows. It's not guaranteed. More often than not, I mean, I'm just going to say these lows look like they want to get swept. So we were talking in the premium about some potential setups that in the live stream that we can look for down here if we get that sweep. But at the end of the day, it's like even down there, guys, it's like you're getting so close to this big area of liquidity below 107K. It's going to be a confirmation-based trade, right? If I get the confirmations, maybe I'll take it. But I would have to manage that very carefully because, again, like the higher time frame scenario here is like you don't want to overcomplicate things. High, low, lower, high, lower, low. It's like I'm just very, very suspicious of this. So I have not really gotten the confirmations I want to see to enter along here. If it comes up, that's great. I'm going to be watching for those key levels of resistance. If we get the setup, maybe I'll take a little trade. But for me personally, I am sitting on my hands, holding my short position, waiting for those local confirmations or the sweep of liquidity below 107K. Does that make sense? Right? We're seeing this on the heat map. Right? We're not just like, again, not that these are 100% accurate, but it is sitting here, right? This is a pretty hot spot of liquidity. A lot of liquidity sitting down there. So let me come into the live chat real quick. 8K incoming. Shout out to Nirvana. Oh, my God. Imagine that, right? Like, people were calling for 8K in the bear market, and it's like they hope for 8K, they don't get it, and then we go above $100,000, and then they get 8K. That would be diabolical. Shout out to Vegas Visuals. Welcome in, bro. He said that was a fire stream. Shout out to Vegas Visuals. I don't know exactly what stream you're referring to. Oh, maybe the premium live stream? I don't know. Shout out to Vegas Visuals. Welcome in. Let's see. Put a long in on BTC at 2K. Shout out to Khan. Hey, someone said it in the chat. There's Panda the Prophet said there's massive support at 0. Probably. You might as well have some limit orders in case it glitches down to 0. Shout out to Wig589 said I'm actually Gen Z. I'm actually starting an alt rock band. Our first signal is when a bull gets a case of the crabs. Shout out to Wig589. Is it an altcoin stream or an alternative band? Let me know. Shout out to Wig589. Cryptic Crabman said, "Biddy, grab the ditty for my short." Shout out to Cryptic Crabman. Just make sure I didn't miss anything here before we move on. Waiting for alt season. Yeah, shout out to Moxley. It seems like a never-ending waiting game, unfortunately. Let's see. Bing bong to all-time high. I would love that. BTC Dominance has a 4-hour SFP at former value area low. I'll take a quick look at Dominance for you guys. Come on over here to the alt template. So Bitcoin Dominance, again, like nothing really new to update here for me personally. We cover this almost every day. I'm going to try not to check in on this every day because it's just kind of repetitive, right? Like we could potentially see Dominance push up into this value area low again. This would not hurt the longer-term money flow trend, right? 3-day money flow crosses into the red. Right? Like we could still anticipate lackluster bounces to the upside, lower highs and lower lows. We're kind of just stalling out here at the bottom. Until something really, really crazy changes here, I'm going to kind of like stop talking about this for a while until we get like another significant move. Maybe if we push up here, we'll update you. But yeah, right now, obviously we do have the daily money flow attempting to come back into the green, which could give you that little continuation of the trend, right? Pushing Dominance up. Obviously going to be a little bit more bearish for altcoins. But this would not be alarming to me until we start flipping that 786. And even then, you still have some bigger levels above. But yeah, until we get up here, I'm going to kind of try to stop mentioning this every single live stream. But daily money flow is starting to come up. But your 2-day money flow, this is a pretty small money flow wave. Technically, it is coming up. You have the bull divs. I'm paying attention to the higher time frame trend here. So watching that 3-day money flow, see if we can get that push up here. If not, well, that'd be nice, right? Because it would just continue to trend down. But yeah, until we come up here, I'll check in on that again. But yeah, other than that, just longer-term trend still looks pretty weak in my opinion, and we'll see what happens, guys. 4-day money flow still continuing down as well, so yeah, I don't really see any huge updates here on Bitcoin Dominance. We will take a look at Ethereum in a minute. And then there was more liquidity. Shout out to Crypto Knight. Frankie, isn't 113.8K already a lower high? Do we need another one at 111.2 or 112.9? Well, here's the thing, right? Like, you can look at this as, right, it's like, yeah, it doesn't mean that you can't come up for, like, a longer like a higher time frame lower high, right? You can continue. This is why I always talk about like the local Fibonacci retracements, right? Like it's not impossible to reject local retracements and continue the trend down. But for the bigger move, right, like this is pretty much the highest I would like to go before looking to wick out this high here. So, you know, could you do something like that? Absolutely. But if you don't get those confirmations at those levels, well, you're probably just going to sit on your hands and wait for the continuation up, right? And then you could still put in that higher time frame lower high here. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Shout out to Crespo Crypto, said there will be no alt season. Lay off the Kool-Aid. Shout out to Crespo Crypto. Potentially. I mean, would be the first cycle ever where we saw an alt season. Does it mean it's impossible? No. Absolutely not, right? This might be the first cycle where we look back and there's no alt season. But yeah, again, you know, looking at, we could check in on the RTY again today as well. Yeah, RTY. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a little too soon to call for that, but definitely not out of the cards, right? I'm not going to sit here and say that, you know, alt season is guaranteed, but when you look at Bitcoin dominance, you try to just like identify these trends, right? It's like we haven't had a 2-day money flow crossover in quite some time, right? 3-day money flow crossover, we hadn't had even a longer time. And typically those big 3-day money flow crossovers can give you those big dumps to the downside. So it's just what we're seeing on the chart. Definitely doesn't guarantee. I mean, at the end of the day, anything can happen here. Any indicator you look at is just analyzing information, right? So like if this thing decided to just rip up for whatever reason, like this money flow is just going to come back up. But again, more often than not, you will see this play out. Again, right? Like, even if you look here, right, like 3-day money flow crosses into the red. Does it mean you never go back up? No. But, you know, it is still a pretty decent drop to the downside. We haven't seen anything like this happen. And, you know, you start timing it out with the cycles. I brought this chart up. I bring this chart up almost every day, right? Like, it's either, you know, I don't want to get stuck on, like, the long-term analysis here too much. But, like, it's either top is in, no alt season, right? Or we're going to go in for the alt season, the final, you know, phase of the bull market, and then eventually top out. Those are obviously the two cases here, but I don't know. It'd be a little bit of a catch-up for the altcoins to pop. And again, it is, in my opinion, right, we know that Bitcoin is tied to the traditional markets. You need the RTY to break out, right? Like if the stock market dumps, if the RTY goes down, like this is obviously going to be very bad for your altcoins. And we are tapping against major resistance here. So it's like, you know, again, back to the kind of like nail biter situation. It's like, I mean, if we break above here, that could be the breakout, right? But it's also massive resistance. So it's kind of like do or die here, in my personal opinion. So we'll see what happens, right? Maybe this thing runs into 2026. I'm not going to sit here and like try to predict exactly when the all-time high or exactly when and if alt season's going to come in. I just think it's like, I think it's naive to think very confidently either way. Now, you could weigh the probabilities and make your decision based off those probabilities, but to say there's guaranteed no alt season coming, I mean, one of them is going to be right. But I just think there's not enough on the charts here to say like, alt season's definitely not coming, right? Like there's just nothing on the chart here to say that just yet. So yeah, and I even mentioned yesterday, right? Like I have been at a point right now where, you know, my fingers are getting a little bit itchy here. Mostly because of the nail biter situation, because of where we are in the cycle, right? Right, getting towards what we would expect the end of the 4-year cycle to be. And again, like the macroeconomic cycle changes, this could change too. But, you know, I am getting a little itchy up here, guys. I am holding my Bitcoin from like 21.5K. So like my fingers are getting itchy here to maybe just to like lock in a little bit more profit, right? It's like you're always going to have the people that are like, oh, like we're going to 500K or like, oh, it's all over, right? Like you can't take that. I personally don't ever take that stance, right? Like everyone calls for this anytime like we get stuck in one of these situations. People called the top here. They called they said the top was in here. Like, oh my God. Well, actually they weren't calling the top here. They were calling the top here, right? They were like, oh my God, it's all over. Bear market. You guys are idiots if you're holding your crypto. It's like, what happens, right? The charts were not calling for that. You get a new all-time high. Same thing here. Oh my God, bear market. It's all over, right? New all-time high. And the charts all pointed towards this not being the start of the bear market, not being the start of the bear market. Does this mean that once we get down here, I'm saying 100% the top isn't in? No, but you have to take the probabilities, right? Like what is the probability that Bitcoin puts a 7% all-time high in and then dumps down into a bear market this early in the cycle? Well, in my opinion, that'd be very low probability based off of many different things. But we do have a case, right? Like if we started breaking down towards some really key levels that we had down here, well, then it would have looked a lot worse and be like, well, hey, this looks like the top is in. So you just need more information on the charts, kind of just a waiting game here to see Bitcoin's next move. And when you start to front run that with the money flow, this is why my fingers are starting to get itchy, because you start to see these higher time frame money flow crossovers like the 4-day looking to cross over into the red. The 3-day still kind of flat up there. The 2-day looking to come into the red. It's like these are the early warning shots if it is the top, right? If 125K is the top, right? The lower daily time frames are going to be the first thing to call that, right? Like back here in 2021, your daily money flow crossover happened right here, right? That was way before your weekly money flow crossover that happened over here, right? So, you know, when you're getting that late in the cycle, it's like starts to get a little bit sketchy. And when that 4-day money flow is coming out, it's like, yikes, man. Like this is, like, I don't know. It's starting to get a lot of the stuff that I'm in profit on. I'm like thinking like, is it really that bad? Excuse me, that bad of idea to maybe take some profit off the table, right? Because like at this point, especially on my Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin rips up to 150K, right? Like, am I really missing, or even like 140K? Am I really like willing to risk the hundreds of % that I've made capturing this entire move to the upside for a potential extra 27% gain? Like, I'm going to be, you have to think to yourself, would you be more mad about like just praying for a new all-time high or actually locking in some money? Like, think about it back here. A lot of people wanted 100K. We didn't get anywhere near that, right? So like, if you look back in hindsight, if you round tripped your bags, like you probably would have wished that you were taking profits here instead of just praying for $100,000. You don't have to sell it all, right? But I was thinking about, my fingers are getting itchy, taking some profit on my Bitcoin, my XRP, not saying because I think the top is in, but like just from my personal situation where I am in from much lower, like what's the risk to reward there, right? Now, it might be not be the same case with you if you are holding your crypto from a different price, right? But for me personally, it's like, am I ever going to be mad that I captured all of this move if price goes back up? Well, I've deleted a lot of the emotions out of my trading and investing, right? So like, I just see this as pure risk to reward, right? Like, if this is the bear market and we wind up dumping down, like I'm going to wish that I took profits up here. So I still haven't, but I have been thinking about it, guys. My fingers are getting itchy. My XRP is up like crazy. My Ethereum's up like crazy. My Bitcoin's up like crazy. And that's why, I'm able to stay calm on these drops to the downside, right? Because it's like, I'm already up that much. Right? And it's like this little drop down is like not a big deal for me. And obviously everybody's in a different situation, right? If you bought up here, right, you're in a little bit of a different situation. If you bought up here, you're in a little bit of a different situation. You're now at break even. It's like, yeah, it's like, no one can tell you where to buy and where to sell because everybody's in a different situation. Everyone has a different entry price. Everybody has a different plan. Everybody has a different, timeline, right? So just my 2 cents there. I don't want to get too much into the, long term, because obviously like this can all change, right? Like everyone gets super emotional about, oh my god, the bottom's coming, right? Like bull market's over. But then guess what? Like if you get a pop to the upside, like those same people are just like, oh my god, bull market, like why would you sell, right? So it's just like emotional reactions in the market. Like I just always take an informational based approach, and there's just nothing here until money flow looks weak, which is a little bit sketchy, which is why my fingers are getting itchy. But there's nothing here saying like the top is guaranteed in. You have the bearish confirmations, right? You have monthly bear div, things that we've covered many a times in the past, like even a long time ago, right? Like weekly bearish divergences, high time frame money flow starting to come out, monthly bearish divergence also printing. You're also entering into Q4 and October, which is typically, not typically, but literally where we see all the tops come in. Q4, right? So it's like, I don't know. It's like it almost kind of seems too good to be true to just be like, oh, yeah, Q4, the top will come in. That's why I don't go based off time. But it's like you're entering into Q4. You have October coming up. It's like it would also make sense to get that move up. So, yeah, I mean, I wish I had the crystal ball, guys. I wish I did. Youngsters don't have enough patience. Yeah, shout out to Flat Smack. That's really where like the emotional aspect comes in, right? Like when people are freaking out down here, people are FOMOing up here. It's just like typical like not a derogatory way, but like just newbie behavior, right? It's just like, of course, like it's just like the emotions. Like every time we dump, everyone calls bear market. Every time we pump, new all-time highs. And it was a lot easier for me to say like I genuinely have no thought that this is the start of the bear market. I genuinely have no thought this is the start of the bear market. We are in a different spot now, though. So now it's like I wish I could be as confident as I was down here, but it's just a different situation. So you have to be able to identify, right, those situations. Very, very important. Go look at Bitcoin during September of the last bull run. Could try to do that real quick before we jump into Ethereum. Where are we at? September. Yeah, I mean, there's the start of September, right? Bottom comes in September. Q4, blow off top, right? And this is, if we are going to see new all-time highs, this is kind of what I would expect on Bitcoin, to be quite honest with you, right? Even if 125K isn't the top, I do think, right? Like, this is not me saying that I think that if we go into a new all-time high, we're going to 500K, right? Like, I do think that if the top is not in at 125K, if we come up for one more move to the upside, it is going to be a lot more short-lived than most people would think. They're going to think, oh, my God, breakout, like, we have been in this bull market, right? But the nice thing here is, like, it would make a lot of sense in Q4 to see the all-time high come in, and then still probably not go as high as a lot of people think, right? Like, every cycle, everyone wants the higher target, the higher target, the higher target. That is not what I would be anticipating, right? I would think even if the top is not in here, we are still closer than not to the high. And this would just be the better scenario, right? This would be obviously the much more bullish scenario, but it would be nice because it would give the opportunity for altcoins to run as well. And then we would look back and be like, wow, this cycle played out just like the rest of them. Funny how that works. So yeah, but again, you are at the mercy of the traditional markets, right? If we're going to just melt up on the stock market, like Bitcoin's probably going to follow that, guys. But with the slower monetary policy, like obviously we have the loose monetary policy now with the rate cuts, but it is like a slow cutting cycle. So it's like, it's really hard, guys. I mean, I don't know, right? Like, you know, you could see the slower cycles. Maybe we just continue to like grind up and it goes into 2026. Like, no one knows, guys. No one knows. If they tell you they know, they're making that up. I promise you that. So yeah, I mean, the best thing to do is just understand how the charts work. And, you know, again, even if I took profit here and we went to 150K, it's like, I'm not upset that I made a bunch of money. This is what gets a lot of people trapped holding their bag to the bottom, because guess what? The feeling you have up here is the same feeling you're going to have if we come up to 130K and then get a pullback, right? You're like, oh my God, it's the top in. I don't know. Should I take profits? No, everyone's calling for 150K now. Maybe I'll just hold, right? And then like eventually you're going to wind up holding that top. You're here to make money, right? You're not here to just hold on for some arbitrary target that everyone hopes for. If you do, right, you might end up in the situation where everyone's praying for this and you get that. But again, I'm not in the business of calling the tippy top. When I think there's a good sign that it's in, I'll start talking about it. And I've covered that many a times on the live stream. So, let's see. Going to zero this weekend. Shout out to Christopher Columbus. That's a fire name. Zero. We're going to zero this weekend, guys. Just massive red candle down to zero. Should we do it? We'll go into ETH right after this, but I'm going to do it. Expect this weekend, guys. It's all over. Shout out to Crypto for Columbus. We call this the death candle of Bitcoin. All the way down to zero. How scary would that be? Good Lord. I'm not going to pull it all the way to zero. But there it is, guys. Top on Bitcoin forever. Bitcoin's a scam. That'd be crazy. Imagine everybody just gets conned. Bitcoin's a scam. Just goes to zero. That'd be crazy. I would be a huge victim of that scam. Let's see. Shout out to TD Gay. Said the big red flag will be when BTC pumps to 120K and alts moon. I mean, yeah. Listen. If we get the move up, right? Just understand. Like, this is why I look at, money flow. We've talked about a big retracement coming in on declining money flow. If we see that happen, similar to what we had in 2021. Again, everybody would look at this, right? I don't know if everybody was looking at this, but you know, I could say on the chart, like, what would I be thinking here? From a just price action perspective, I'd be like, okay, let me pull my fib from the low to the high. Golden Pocket 786. This is an area to potentially put in a macro high or low for a higher high. Right? And this is why I think it's important to remember past cycles, right? Because like up here, everybody was so confident that 100K was coming in. Everybody was just so, it's just like, oh, that 100% determination. Like, oh my God, 100K, I told you guys, 30K is the bottom, right? And this would be an area where you would look for a low, a high, a higher low, and a potential higher high. And that would make sense from a structure perspective. But not every retracement level is created the same. Because when you have high time frame money flow coming to the downside, right, this would make the probability of this being, like, what would you look at based off money flow here? You would not be looking for a higher low and a higher high. What would I personally be looking for? Maybe a bounce off the 786, sure. But a lower high and a lower low is going to be the higher probability scenario based off your money flow crossing out, specifically on the weekly time frame. So, you know, I actually pulled a fractal here. I don't remember the exact fractal, but it was like, you know, what could this potentially look like if it did play out like 2021, right? So if we pull this, just like the bear market dump, Actually, let me pull it over here. Right, like what would this potentially look like? Actually, keep this up. I'll hide this. I'll hide this. I'll hide this. I'll hide this. Right. I'll even hide the Fibonacci retracement. Right. Like potentially, you could see something like this. Obviously, you have to resize it a little bit, but you know, the top comes in, right? You get back into this profile, right? And if we break back into this profile again, why 107K is so important is because if we get back accepted into this range, right? Like, well, we could expect the POC and the value area low. And then on these retracements, if this is on declining money flow, and I'm not saying it's going to look exactly like this, but if we get a big retracement, it's on declining money flow on the weekly. That's me saying, hey guys, the top looks like it's in on Bitcoin. I can't really call that up here, right? Because we have not broken the significant structure. Now I could say based off money flow, it looks likely to break the structure. But if it comes down here and gets the retracement, money flow is coming out on that retracement, and maybe alts are pumping into this, or maybe it happens even more locally. Maybe we get the bounce here on declining money flow and alts start to pump, which is more close to what TDK was saying. Lower high comes in on Bitcoin as the alts are ripping. Like on this retracement, if alts are absolutely cooking and money flow is coming out on Bitcoin, well, those are two scenarios where you could see potential lower high, top is in on Bitcoin, or a drop into here for a big bounce, lower high on Bitcoin, the top is in, right? Alts rally, and then bear market. These are just like really speculative. I'm not saying it has to play out like this. Obviously, if I could call that, if it was just going to play out perfectly like this, it would be easy, right? It's not easy. We don't know if you know anything about investing or trading. It's not an easy thing. So, just some ideas, right? But until we have that money flow coming out on those retracements, there's really not much to look at, other than trying to front run the money flow. And who knows, right? Maybe you come down here, right? This is a macro golden pocket, right? Same thing as 2021. This could be an area to put in a macro. Right, this is almost like a perfect example of what we looked at in 2021. Here's your macro golden pocket. You have a low, a high, a higher low, potential higher high into new all-time highs. But if money flow on the weekly, right, here's your zero line. Weekly money flow has been in the green for the entire bull market, right? And then we, on that retracement, see declining money flow. Well, this looks much better for a lower high and a lower low, potentially starting the bear market if that money flow crosses into the red. It's exactly what we saw in 2021. Lackluster retracement, lower high, lower low. Look at the money flow. Money flow, or on the weekly, crossing into the red, right? But until we get that bigger retracement, it's going to be hard because we have to let this develop. If we get down here and money flow looks really good, well, maybe it is a higher low. But we won't know that until we come down here, right? It's an if this, then that situation. So I'm not going to cover every scenario, right? Like, I don't know which one's going to play out. But just to kind of give you guys an insight into, like, what I like to look at and, why, right? Like, it's played out in the past. Not even in the past. It's just, like, how the TA works. So, yeah. Anyway, let's move on to Ethereum. I don't want to get too stuck on, like, the long term, right? It's, like, basically just, like, trying to guess here. But let's jump into Ethereum here real quick. So, yeah. All right. So, Ethereum attempting to hold the monthly MPOC. We're back inside the volume profile here. Let me pull this range up as well. Look at this context. So this is obviously still in the cards, right? We can't get back above this macro 786, right? This is the macro 786 pulled from the bull market top to the bear market bottom. It's technically your doorway to all-time highs, but as we've looked at on Bitcoin many a times, on this, as it was approaching its same level back in the day, right? Ethereum obviously got rejected from this level many a times. Bitcoin, on this approach, started breaking above and then sent it to new all-time highs. Ethereum got sucked down, sucked down, sucked down. But now, as we've cracked above this level, we saw Bitcoin kind of bing-bong around here on that 786, right? We got it, we held it, we tried to hold it, we then lost it and retested the value area high before the bigger move up. So this is still a big level of support if we look at it from this context between, I would say, 3,600 down to about 3,530 to retest that value area high. And there's no guarantee you have to get down there either. Maybe we have some other upper levels here. You have the $3,700 psychological level, $3,600 psychological level. But I wouldn't really be super worried here until we start getting stuck back in this profile, right? Like that would look much more bearish. But we've seen it happen on Bitcoin where you break above that 786, not this 786. You break above that macro 786. You hold it, you lose it, you bounce off the macro value area high, which was sitting right here. All right, so if Ethereum does something similar, that would, not just because Bitcoin did it, but just from like a structure perspective, right? Like this wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It'd be really annoying, and to see Ethereum go down that much. But as of right now, locally, I would say we have this monthly MPOC that we've been looking at, getting a little bit of a bounce here, back in the profile. You have the point of control, which I believe is this. Yeah, you have the POC sitting here which is going to be your next key level, which is obviously right on top of that 786, which sits at about 4,080. This is a big level of resistance. If we get above this, right, I would still be careful of lower highs and lower lows based off your high time frame money flow on the daily. Cracking into the red here. Green dot prints, sure, give it a bounce. That's no problem, right? But that doesn't change the longer-term trend perspective. If this scams back into the green, maybe get the bigger move up. But as far as the TA goes, I would say money flow, and with the amount of times and the statistics of this playing out, right, I would say about 8 out of 10 times the money flow, especially with a nice big green wave and a smooth crossover into the red, it is usually going to continue that trend to the downside. So you do have the green dot. Don't ignore that. Maybe get a little weekend bounce, get above the POC. Key levels to the upside I would watch are 4,084 into the golden pocket 786. I would say the biggest level is going to be from this high to the low. Golden pocket, 786 value area high, sitting between 4,400, 43.96 up to 45.75. This is the profile, right? We're back in, get above the POC, look to ride up to the high, but you might just continue to either range or you get the lower high and then that final breakdown to the value area high of the previous range. So this is the range that I would be looking at this point. You could also look at the more local range here, but I'll just keep it simple here. Value area low, 39.34. POC 4,084. Value area high, 45.34. A lot of similar sounding numbers. 84, 34, 34. Erythrium. Shout out to Hangman, as your grandmother might say. Thoughts on Pump Fund stream tokens? Shout out to Oglife. I don't know exactly what you're talking about with that. Talking about like streamers streaming, like trading the trenches. Is that what you're talking about? I don't really have much of a thought on that. I would just be careful. Yeah, people are going to get so wrecked if Q4 is bearish. Yeah, I would say the majority probably will. If I'm being honest, right? Because it's like, again, just because Q4, the top comes in Q4, right? Like, it doesn't mean that, like, the top can't be in at 25K. I don't think a lot of people take that stance, right? People just think that they have to take a stance of, like, a new all-time high is incoming or not, right? Like, there are these times of sideways consolidation where you have to, like, view the charts and, like, kind of figure out, right? Like, if I dig into this chart and, like, it looks bad enough, right? Like, I'll just sell my bag, right? Like, you don't have to wait to sell at the tippy top. So, I just can share with you guys what I'm doing. Like, my finger's getting itchy up here. But again, it's like if we shoot up to 150K, I'm not missing out on much. I've already captured this entire bull market, right? It's the importance of like I can't stress enough how much simpler your life is when you actually buy the fear and just hold through the bull market, right? Like you're not stressed out over these dumps. Like you have a much clearer view on the market because there's less emotion, right? It's like, oh my God, 20% drop, right? Like if this is, or 30% drop, like if this is really shaking you out, it's more of a signal, right, or a sign that your entry was not great, right? You have to be able to endure these 30% pullbacks within the bull market. These are common, right? So, but buying low really helps you kind of remove those emotions, right? Because if you buy here, you're down 30%. You're thinking like, if this is the top, I'm going to lose all my money, right? But here, it's like you just have a much clearer view of things, and it really deletes those emotions, which is like the most important and the hardest thing to get rid of when you're investing or trading, right? We deal with it on a daily basis on the trades. You have to manage that psychology, but it's the same thing on the long-term bags, right? You don't want to wind up like holding your trade, right, your position trade forever, like waiting to never come in. And it's okay, guys. It's okay if you don't sell the tippy top, right? Like imagine even if you round-tripped your bag and like say you sold up here and then you were kicking yourself because Bitcoin made a new all-time high, like it's okay. It's all right, right? Like if you bought down here, like you made a massive, 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 massive gain. It's okay to sell up here and have price go up a little bit more. Like you make 1,400%, you miss out on an extra 30%, which is hilariously, I'm not up 1,400%, but similar situation, right? It's like you put in that like slight all-time high and it's like, yeah, like you're going to be kicking yourself, right? If you're not taking profits here and you're like, man, I didn't sell the tippy top. Like you're not going to be mad about that if you go into a bear market. You'd be like, wow, man, I almost sniped that top. I missed it by a little bit. Like you're never going to catch those bottoms. When I bought the bottom of the bear market, guys, just because I know how to do the TA and I'm able to, oftentimes call the bottoms and the tops to some degree. It's not like I saw $115,542 and was like, yep, that's the bottom. That's it. We tapped 115,542. That's it. It's the bottom. I'm going to buy, right? That's not how it works, right? Like you're going to, if you try to do that, right, my target down here was 112 to 114K. We didn't even hit my target, right? We got pretty close, right? I would say, 114K was pretty close, right? Like missed it by a couple of percent there, right? But I was not waiting for that. I was not like, that's the level that I want to hit. I'm going to wait to buy until we get there. No, I have a plan. I'm like, well, hey, like if we're at 20 in the 20s, right? Like buy, dollar cost average, DCA, 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 DCA. And then it's like, oh, hey, oh God, now we might be able to break up inside this volume profile and rotate back up towards 50K. Well, in that case, I'm not mad that I missed the bottom because I was averaging in, giving me a nice entry point. It's a much simpler way to trade with your spot bags. But what do most people do? Most people get in because they see Bitcoin on the news, Q4, right? Like I know this because I have personal people in my life that they're like, oh my God, what should I buy? They buy up here and then they deal with all this chop, right? It's like, oh my God, like it's absolutely brutal, but they're buying at the wrong time. I try to guide them, but no one wants to listen. They pretend they're listening. They're like, oh, yeah, no, duh. Obviously, I'm not going to buy the top, right? Buy low, sell high, right, bro? Yeah. And then I get a text message later. Screw it, man. It kept going up. I had to buy in. I couldn't. And what is that? You just can't control your emotions. Don't let it's you versus you, right? This is why it's so hard. It's not you versus, it's not even, I mean, it's you versus the chart, but really it's you versus you. Do you actually have the discipline to watch it keep going up and still believe that you're going to get the pullback for a buy, right? Most people know, right? They might see this. Oh, man, like, oh, yeah, I'll just wait for a pullback, right? And then it keeps going. They're like, screw it. I'm going to miss it. It's going to $1 billion. They buy, and then they get chopped. Don't be that person. Don't be that person, guys. It's not going to work out. If it does, could be an element of luck to it, but I would just be careful. I want the Mafia to make money. I'm here to help you guys make money, not help you hold on for, just random prices. Shout out to Sivasha says, do you ever look at on-chain? If so, any conclusion? Shout out to Sivasha. I just don't trade using on-chain stuff. I'm not saying it's not important. I'm not saying it doesn't do anything. Me personally, I just don't look at it. I've never regretted not looking at it. I've never gotten wrecked and been like, oh man, I should have saw that this whale moved this money. Like it's never happened. So no, I personally don't. Not saying you shouldn't. I just personally don't. All right, so let's jump into some more altcoins here, guys. We'll take a quick look at Solana or Solonzo, as your grandmother or James Kramer would say. No, he doesn't say Solonzo. What is he said something. I think he says Solano. Let's take a look here. Look at that. Nice bounce here, or nice respect on your key level of support here on Solana. Golden pocket, value area low. And I can't, for the life of me, explain this any better, right? What did we look at here over the past couple of weeks, or the past week on Solana? You break above the low, POC is next. If you stay in the range, the doorway is open to flip the POC and go to the high for fulfill the range. You get up here with your bearish confirmations. You get back into the range. Money flow is also coming out. You were looking for the continuation of the trend to the downside, which is why I was not looking too long the local higher lows here for a massive blow off top. Why? Because money flow was not pointing in that direction. It was pointing towards a continuation of the downside. What was our next key level of support? Well, there were two of them. One of them was the POC here on a local golden pocket retracement, but we could not hold that, and we talked about this as well. Lose that 786 POC zone. Well, where's price likely to go next? To the value area low. Would you have been better off longing on no confirmation as you were losing a key level, or a local confirmation here off a random local key level, or are you just better off being patient and waiting for the bigger level, right? I'm not saying this is a massive move up, but you get a nice reaction right from that key level. Volume profiles will change your life. You get the high with the bearish confirmations, and what happens? Full rotation of the range. Now you're at the low. This is not a place to short. This is a place to only look for longs. Now, do I think this is the bottom before new all-time highs? I don't know. All right, let's take a look at the higher time frames. Well, look at that. Daily money flow is coming out. Could this continue up? Sure. Why? You have the green dot printing on the daily, or looking to print on the daily. If you can get this green dot on the daily, I would look for a potential continuation up on Solana. But does this fight the overall trend to the downside? No. You could look for lower highs and lower lows. Or, well, actually, let me pull that fib back up. All right, so you have get rid of these brushes. You have your local golden pocket 786 POC. This is sitting between 212 to 217.93. This would be the next target, just like the POC would be the next target. You come into the low, you get your bullish divergences. This is the 45-minute. You might have had it on higher time frames as well, maybe. Yeah, I mean, you kind of got them on the lower time frames as well. Pretty aggressive lower lows. I like to see them more locally, but you did get some bullish divergences into the key level, which is your value area low. You get some nice little SFPs down here, or one nice little SFP. Sweep out the low. Bullish divergences. Tapping into the key level, value area low, golden pocket. Bullish divergences on the high and lower time frames. SFP. Well, hey, look for a bounce. right? Next target would be sitting up here, 212 to 217.93, 212 to $218. If we get above this, flip the POC to support, well, we can look higher, potentially into our full Fibonacci retracement, because again, money flow is coming out, so you got to be careful around these levels. Where does that bring you? That brings you up to about 229, up to about 240. But at that point, right, if you do not have that money flow on the daily coming out anymore, if things look good, well, it might just be a full rotation of that range, just like you looked at here, just like you looked at here. But with the way money flow looks like right now, definitely be cautious around this next target here, golden pocket 786. You reanalyze price action, reanalyze the money flow as you get up there. If it looks like a lower high, well, I'd probably be taking profits on any longs that I took down here, which I didn't take. I'm not long on Solana personally, but that's what I would look at. If I were in a long here, I would definitely be looking to take profits at the POC, especially because it's a Fibonacci retracement, especially because money flow is coming out. I hope that money flow flips around on the higher time frames and we can get above this, shoot up to the value area high and break out. I really do hope that. But I can't really make that call because I make my decision based off the TA, and the TA has money flow coming out. Dang. I really wish I didn't have to say that, but it is true. Shout out to Just Do It. Says, what are the numbers on the golden pocket? The 6.5 and the 6.18 make up the golden pocket. Shout out to Seth Shepard, said, I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I'm not the smartest in the room either, but I invest well. Shout out to Seth. You probably invest well because you have no problem taking money off the table, if I had to guess. Let's see. Nothing but love for the Mafia fam. Shout out to Crypto Maxi in the chat. Said, even if I can only show it on Friday. Shout out to Crypto Maxi. We're happy to get you 7 days a week, 5 days a week, 1 day a week. As long as you pop up, bro, we're happy to have you here. Is it okay to take positions at the POC? Sure. To be honest, right, the short I'm holding on Bitcoin from this high was pretty much the POC, right? It has to be contextual, though. When you're generally talking about trading the volume profiles, I personally, right, I'll just pull a random volume profile, right, and I will hide the candles, right? In a profile, I do prefer, right, the whole point of trading the volume profiles is, especially if it's a bell curve profile or a D-shaped profile, this is very good for range trading, right? So below the lows is undervalued. This is where you look for longs. Above the highs, overvalued. This is where you look for shorts, right? For a rotation into the POC, get above it, into the value area high. Look for the shorts, back into the range, POC, value area low. High probability rotation, high probability rotation. Now, can I short the POC? Sure, but there has to be context to it, right? I'm not generally thinking, if we're just ranging, that I'm going to take a short at the golden at the POC. It's typically a take profit one for me, stop loss to break even on a trade, because if we get up there, I want to keep the opportunity open for the high probability fill of the range, but I can still lock in money, move my stop loss, making it a guaranteed winning trade if we do reject the golden pocket. Now, what cases, right? So just generally speaking, longs, shorts. Longs, shorts, obviously. Now, what situation would I short a POC or long a POC? Well, it depends, right? If there's a strong trend or money flow is crossing into the green, or I have a reason to believe that we are going to hold a higher low or a lower high for a continuation down. So let's just say I pull my Fibonacci retracement and I have perfect confluence here on the golden pocket. And let's just say I have money flow coming out, right? Let's just say this is the 0 line. I have money flow, say on the 4 hour, for example, in the green, and it's about to cross into the red right here, right? Maybe we come up, we rotate, right? Pretend this golden pocket isn't here yet. Now I pull the golden pocket from here to here. Golden pocket's right on the POC, and I have money flow about to cross over into the red. Well, maybe it's time for this range to break down. A lot of people say, I get trading the range, right, or trading the volume profile. I've been slapping those trades up and down, but how do I know when it's going to break down or break up? Well, that's where you look at money flow. If I have money flow, if I have price ranging around like this, right, and then we come down, bounce, and money flow, right, let's say money flow's in the green, you're ranging around up here, but it's trending out over the duration of that range. Well, hey, now what am I looking for? I could look for bounces at the value area low. Still a high probability to push into the POC, but because money flow is coming out, maybe I think that there's a chance that I can get a lower high on that golden pocket. So in that context, maybe I do look for a short at the golden pocket 786 for a breakdown of that range. But more often than not, I am already holding a short from the high of the range. So I'm not oftentimes in that scenario, but when I am, the context has to be that, right? I have to be, you have to have logic behind your trades, right? There's never just going to be, oh my God, green dot flashing long, right? What's the logic there? I saw a green dot, so I longed. It's like you have to have context in mind. You have to have a logical reason to take that trade. So some people might say, like, sometimes I will be short from a POC, and people are like, I thought you don't trade the middle of the range. It's like, generally, in the context of trading a range, no. But in a context where, eventually you're going to either break up or break down. If I see money flow coming out and I think the lower high is coming in here and it's on a POC, that might be one of those situations where, hey, maybe the lower high comes in here and we get the lower high for the lower low and the breakdown. Why wouldn't I want to short that? But it's not every time. There has to be that specific scenario. So hopefully, people would charge for that information, guys. So hopefully it helps you out. And if you bring price action back up, you can look at it with price action, right? It's not just like drawn on diagrams, right? It's like, what happened here? It's going to be exactly what I just explained to you. Maybe on a higher time frame, right? Money flows in the green, bing bong, shorts, longs, potentially longs, right? But that's the range. But what's happening here now? Maybe I caught a long from the low to the high, right? Maybe the range probably looked a lot different back then. But let's just say for argument's sake, right? You long here. You short here, right? High probability volume profile, high probability volume profile trade, high probability long back to the high, high probability short back to the low. But why may I look to hold this short position for a bigger breakdown? Well, look at your money flow. I'll hide everything so it's nice and simple. Right, well, great. We're bing, bong, bing, bong, bing, bong, right? But why might I want to hold this trade for a drop back down? Well, look at your money flow. You're in the green. Now money flow starting to come out, looking to cross over into the red. So maybe this short I take up here, I might want to hold for a bigger drop down. And we actually did take that trade in the premium Discord back here, just because I remember. This is what we look at, right? This is just, I'm going to share with you what we do, right? So perfect example on a diagram and the live price, right? So that's a real life example of what that would probably look like. So if I were looking for a short, you might say to yourself, well, Frankie, I thought you don't short POCs. Well, if I'm looking at the price action here, let's come on down to the 4 hour, right? If I'm looking at this and I'm saying, hey, maybe I want to short this POC, people might say, like, why are you shorting the POC? Wouldn't you want to wait for the value area high? Well, maybe not, right? Because the 4 hour money flow is coming out. I might be looking for lower highs and lower lows. So in that case, I would be looking for a short. Hopefully that makes sense. Little free range trading course. Shout out to, I forgot who asked that, but shout out to you. Let's see. Thanks for the TA, man. Shout out to Gary. No problemo. Smash that like button if you appreciate the free education and the free TA that you guys get here every single weekday. Shout out to Panda the Prophet said, I still don't know how all this TA costs you only one like, and you still can't do it. Shout out to Panda Prophet. Smash the like button. We got Top G in the chat. Says, sometimes the POC or the value area high keep on changing. What to do then? Go watch the volume profile tutorial. I explained that in the video. It depends, right? When I mark out areas of balance, right, like this volume profile, this will move, right? But I am only looking at this as an area of balance, right? So if this is continuously updating, right, like the volume, it doesn't really move a lot here. But sometimes when you move out of the range, the volume profile levels are going to move, right? Because the volume is shifting to different prices. But me, I lock my volume profiles on the area of balance, which is those ranges. So go watch the volume profile tutorial. Should be able to explain that for you. But when you pull your volume profile, you just got to make sure, if you don't want it to auto update, you just have to come in here and uncheck extend to the right, because then it's just automatically going to keep updating to the current price action, which will move. You can see this profile is much different than this profile, right? It's because it's incorporating all the volume within these candles now instead of just the area of balance. I mark out the areas of balance because when we revisit this, there's a high probability of that filling back in full. And you can see, right? It's not that you can't look at the current range, right? It's not that you can't look at the current volume profile updated to the price, but this is how I trade the volume profiles. This is an area of balance. If I can get back in here, I'm looking for this high probability move through the profile. I know once I get up here and get accepted into the range, there's a high probability opportunity to look to go from the low to the POC to the high, right? That is the high probability move. And then you could look at money flow and say, well, hey, maybe this is going to continue to break out, and then maybe you can hold that trade for a little bit more of a grand slam or a home run, say. Free sauce, Mafia. Free sauce. There you go. But go watch that tutorial. It should explain it a little bit better. All right, so let me just fix Market Cipher here, and let's go ahead and jump into some more. I just cannot explain how perfect this is to show that. Get back into the range, high probability move to the POC. Even when you fake out, right? Like you try to get to the POC, couldn't make it. Try to get to the POC and didn't make it. Like nothing's going to be 100%. And this is a pretty old range, right? This is pulled all the way from back here. But what happens here? Where did I get this range from? This range is pulled all the way from back here, only incorporating this price action. So I know once I get back in here, there's a high probability move to rotate. You're now back within the same area of balance. From the low to the high, from the high to the low. And guess where you're bouncing? Right from the low. Volume profiles will change your life. So there you go. So again, and in here, right, like would I be interested in a short from the POC here? I would rather see it be the full Fibonacci retracement, right? So if I had this pulled from the high to the low, and the POC was here on the golden pocket, like you could be interested in shorts at that POC potentially, not necessarily as much in this case. But if it was the full Fibonacci retracement, you could look for shorts at that point of control. In my opinion, why? Look at your money flow. Your money flow is saying, hey, maybe you can break down out of that range. Again, that was if it was pulled from the high. I would be more interested in it up here. But just for argument's sake, if it was pulled from the high to the low and you get that beautiful confluence on the POC, that is an area where I'd be looking, because if you take the profile off the chart, if you take all the TA off the chart and you just look at the Fibonacci retracement, dang it. Let me just hide all this. Right? If you're just looking at this from raw price action, low, lower high, potential lower low. And again, I would like it much better if it was the full retracement. But if this is on your POC, well, hey, well, then you could potentially short that POC. So the context has to be there. But there you go. All right, let's take a quick look at Cardano. Continuing to hold our anchored VWAP. Getting a little bounce there. Again, I'm not going to cover too many altcoins tonight, guys, to be quite honest, because like the sentiment remains the same. What's your money flow doing here? What does that make my bias, right? Well, probably lower highs and lower lows. And you push into your value area high with confirmation similar to Solana, back into the range. Next likely place for price to go could be the POC. Doesn't mean you can't get bounces. Doesn't mean you can't even come back up to the value area high potentially, right? But the magnetic nature of the POC. The POC is the strongest magnet within the profile. And again, it's not going to be 100%. Nothing's 100% in trading. But again, the hit rate is very, very high. So you're rejecting from the high. The context here is like, well, hey, with money flow coming out, maybe we can fill this entire range to the value area low, which brings us to that key level that we looked at yesterday, about 61 cents. We don't want to lose this level, right? You want to stay within the profile, hopefully, like Solana can do. Again, money flow is coming out. It's not the highest probability scenario to just get a massive breakout to all-time highs, but maybe by the time, if Cardano can make it down here, maybe money flow can turn back around, and we can look for that big breakout. But we can't really say that until the price action pops up and we can actually analyze it, right? So I would still say, is it possible to hold a higher low here? Maybe. But for me personally, in this context, with money flow coming out, would this be a place, perfect example, would this be a place that I would be interested in if I have golden pocket confluence on the POC? Right? Well, technically, you could say to yourself, we have a POC here and a golden pocket confluence, right? Would I be interested in this long for a massive move up? Answer this question in your head right now. Would I be interested in this higher low for a massive higher high? Pay attention to this. Can it happen? Sure. Would it make sense to put that in at a golden pocket? Sure. Right? But because money flow is coming out, that's not my general bias, right? Because the money flow helps you stay on the right side of the trend. So why would I long here in anticipation of new all-time highs? It's not that you can't long here, but I just wouldn't look at that as a swing long into new all-time highs as a base case, because money flow is literally fighting against you. This is pointing more towards an ebb or flow to the upside for a lower high and a lower low. It's exactly why I'm holding the short, or literally why we entered this short here on the golden pocket retracement. What's happening? Daily money flow is crossing into the red. So what am I looking for? I am looking for a lackluster retracement, a lower high, and a potential lower low. So the final target for this short position could be, right? It's not that you can't scam up. It might not play out in full, but the probabilities here are we can eventually, potentially target this $107,000 low because it would be high, low, lower high, lower low. Why do you anticipate that? Money flow is in the red. That's why we're sitting here waiting to pull the trigger on the short and the premium because we know but money flow faked out here, right? But look at your 2-day. Delete the noise from the lower time frames. Your 2-day is just generally trending out here. The daily is going to be more noisy than the 2-day. So to clean up that noise, just look at the 2-day. 2-day money flow is continuing out. And again, if this doesn't come down and hit the low here, it's not a losing trade, right? Because you could take profit and move your stop loss. So it's not like you're gambling your whole account here hoping for a new low, right? You have to have a plan for your trade. You have to understand context. But what I can say here is you could take profit along the way, move your stop loss, and then if this is going to play out, which there is a higher probability of, then you can look to hold a portion of that position for a potentially bigger drop down and turn that trade into a much bigger trade. Maybe I should do a money flow update to show everybody like how we identify money flow and how we use it to kind of figure out what the continuation of the trend is, right? It's not, and if we took this trade, guess what? A lot of people, because I know a lot of new people are just like, tell me the indicator that tells me when to short or long. It doesn't exist. I promise you're chasing something that doesn't exist. It's a senseless battle. I looked for it forever, guys. I spent years trying to find the shortcut. There is no shortcut. The fact of the matter is the market can be random, and even when you get your confirmations, it may not play out. That is a part of the business. It is a cost of doing business, and that's where risk management comes in. If we took this and I got stopped out, guess what? It would have been a small loss, and my long from 107K that we took from the bottom would have continued to pay us out. Did I get wrecked? No. I took a small loss, and the long continues to pay me out. But if it plays out, great. I've already locked in profits on the long along the way. I made thousands of dollars on that move. And now if that short does play out, it's a small risk for a potentially massive reward. Literally a free trading course today, guys. So there you go. Smash that like button. But anyway, coming back to Cardano. So that's my thought process here. Unless that money flow crosses back into the green on the daily, I would be careful of lower highs and lower lows. Biggest level of support still remains. Let me get the levels back on the chart. Bear with me here. Come on. Let's go back to Cardano now. Where'd that anchor VWAP go? Why can't I get that anchor VWAP back? There it is. All right, so we're back on. I mean, this is nice to hold this anchor VWAP. This is a pretty big level. Could get a bounce, right? I would just be careful of this being the final bounce. I hope it is. I just probability-wise. So your next key level of support obviously be the POC. You have the anchored VWAP and then the POC down here, and this 786 is pulled from this entire move up, right? So if you can't hold this zone, right, even if you lose this anchored VWAP again, if you can't hold the POC for the bounce, right? If it doesn't happen here and you can't hold the POC, we lose this, I would simply be waiting for this bigger level. And then this is honestly a better place to take a long position in my opinion anyway, because why? You've rotated from the high, you've filled your entire profile, you are now in undervalued territory. Does it mean that this is going to send you into new all-time highs? Well, I can't tell you that because I don't know what the money flow is going to look like down there. If the money flow is coming up, if money flow is in a deep red wave about to cross back into the green, well, maybe you can look for a bigger trend up. But right now, I would be careful. This would not be a POC that I would be looking to long to all-time highs. I hope it happens, but not a decision I can make based off my rules. And if it does happen, am I crying about it? Am I upset about it? Not at all, right? I hold spot Cardano, so I'm covered there. So there you go. Shout out to FOMO guy, said Nightbot is calling. Shout out to Nightbot. It's coming in soon. Shout out to Reach. Says ADA holders might have to shave their neck beards. Oh, God. Yo, shout out to Kim Tyler during the race. Said, way to go, bear chair. Still in the studio here, guys. It's not on camera anymore, but... shout out to Nirvana. Said, ADA money flow faked out before. It'll fake out again. I'm not saying right now, but it can fake out again. Money flow is always going to have the ability to fake out. ADD Dad said, gotta eat. Maybe we will bounce this weekend. Shout out to ADD Dad. Yeah, I would say locally, lower time frames. Again, if you take a look at the lower time frames, you got some, no bull divs here on Cardano, but on Bitcoin, you got some bull divs here. Again, I would rather wait for a better local confirmation down here. But again, we're at support. This is not where I would look for a long position or a short position. Right? Why? I mean, you're tapping into support. Does it mean you can't continue down? No. But would I take a short here? No. Why? Because if you didn't enter up here or up here or up here, you missed the move, right? We've already gotten the drop down. So if we dumped down here and I wasn't holding my short from the high, I would just let that go, right? This is just the only thing I can look for here is either longs or just simply no trade, right? It's the third option that no one ever thinks about. You don't always have to take a trade at every level, right? As a matter of fact, I would say you shouldn't take a trade at every level. You want to wait for the confluent levels, the key levels. Let's see. What about the doorway to higher prices at 89 cents on Cardano? So yeah, let me pull that up on a larger range. So yeah, this is a doorway to higher prices, but as long as we are, so again, it's not instant, like once you get above, like, I mean, just look at it, right? Sure, break above here, you go right to the POC, great. You tried to hold it, you get back in, pretty much right to the POC, but you can see here, right, we failed. This is always going to be resistance until proven otherwise. And with the way money flow looks like right now, you just got to be careful, right, especially on the daily. If you get a bounce, right, you got to be careful of the lower highs and the lower lows. And it's not just like as soon as you break up in here, right? If you break up in here and money flow is coming out, I'm looking at it as a fake out. If you come up here, you're able to hold support, and you have confirmations down below and the context calls for higher, you can look for higher. These, as magical as the volume profiles can be, like you have to go back and back test them because they're nothing's 100%, right? You'll see things like this. You'll see things like this. You have to identify when and why that happens, right? That way you have an idea of when you're actually going to see the acceptance and the push up, right? If money flow is coming out on the daily, well, the big rotation through this profile is not necessarily in the cards just yet. But if you come down, let's say to the 786, you get nice high time frame bull divs, money flow is coming back into the green on the daily, other high time frame money flow is continuing up. Well, that could be good. If you're flipping this value area low, even here, right, my entries are typically below the volume profile. So like if I were looking to long down here, it's fine if I get a rejection here because I'm already looking at this as a take profit one. And then if we get accepted in, well, great. You're long from below the profile, and then you go fill the whole profile. But let's say you come down here, massive bullish divergences on the higher time frames, money flow coming up, and then as you're coming up, right, money flows back in the green. Well, what would that indicate? That would indicate the continuation of the trend is more likely to continue to the upside. Right, so maybe you hit your head, right? Money flow starts crossing into the green. You can look for higher lows, higher highs. Then you break into the volume profile and you start correcting, but money flow is cooking into the green. Well, cool. You can look for higher lows and higher highs, then making the POC a key target. But unless you have that happening, and even sometimes you can have it, like even here, right? Like you had a nice daily money flow crossover into the green. You did get the higher low and the higher high, but that was just the end of it, right? This is the randomness of the market. But on the lower time frames, there's probably signals of this. It's very complicated. There's never, and if you are here to look or hunt, or if you're in trading to looking for that one thing that's going to be the magic bullet, it does not exist. You're always going to have to, I have to deal with it, right? I have to deal with the uncertainty of the market. But the way you deal with that without wrecking yourself is managing risk. But I just went along with no stop loss and turn $1,000 into $10K in a month. Trading is probably not going to be for you if that's the case. You could turn 1,000 into 10,000 in a month, but it's not going to happen in your first week or month or 2 months or 3 months of trading. You have to learn the skill that you will have for the rest of your life to then extract money consistently through the market, but you can't do that without risk management. So it's not like if you don't get accepted here, if I longed down here, I'm not just longing this with no stop loss, hoping to get the fill, and if it comes back down here, I'm going to get wrecked. That's just not how you trade, right? So anyway, so that's what I look at on Cardano. But this is still the doorway to higher prices, but you need a reason to look to get accepted into here. So there you go. I mean, we've been fighting. We've really been fighting. And I would say as long as you stay above the 786 at 50 cents, you could continue. It just might be a long road. Maybe you have to put in another higher low before another higher high. Money flow turns around. Then you can look for this to be the doorway. This isn't the doorway like as in you just crack it and go up. If the context calls for it, sometimes that happens, right? But if you don't have the setup for that, right, well, you got to be careful because if you're looking for lower highs and lower lows, that doorway to higher price is not going to do you any good. So hopefully that makes sense. Let's see. AVAX. Let's take a look at AVAX. Let's hit 550 likes. Shout out to Blueski. Smash that like button, smash that like button, smash that like button. Look, the screen is telling you, smash that like button. Do it. Do it. All right, let's take a look at AVAX. And then we're going to jump into the giveaways. All right, so AVAX still, there we go. We looked at this level yesterday, guys. Golden Pocket, 786. Why not FOMO into long here? Why not FOMO into a long? Why not FOMO into a long? We're bouncing, we're bouncing, we're bouncing, right? Well, you didn't hit the key level. We are now tapping into our key level. Finally, here you are, right? I would And now this is a little different. Why? Because you have your value area high here. You've gotten above the low. You went right into the POC. You flip the POC. You continue up through the profile. We had the low volume gap here, which we knew was very likely to fill fast. It filled fast into where? Our key levels of resistance. We are now rejecting from there. I would say on AVAX, money flow is still looking to trend down here a little bit, right? 2-day money flow, kind of flat. 3-day money flow actually looks pretty good, right? 4-day money flow just crossed over into the green, right? So longer term here on AVAX is actually slightly different. I would still say the daily is coming out. You have to let that develop a little bit. It's kind of, I would say it's generally poking down here, but when you look at the 3-day, right, the higher time frame, what can we look for? Potential higher lows and higher highs. Now, if Bitcoin nukes down, this is why I say if you're learning how to trade, stick with Bitcoin, right? Learn how to trade, learn how to master one asset, right? It's very easy to get into trading alone, whether it's crypto, stocks, Forex, whatever it is. It's very easy to get in, be like, ooh, indicator, 5-minute chart, buy, sell, right? Take a break, take a deep breath, work on one asset, master one asset, right? And I would recommend Bitcoin because Bitcoin moves the rest of the market, right? So you could see this bullish setup with 3-day money flow coming up on AVAX, which would, from a binary perspective, make me look for higher lows and potential higher highs based off money flow, as well as golden pocket retracements, as well as the full fill of the volume profile. So you have the laws of the volume profile, the laws of the Fibonacci retracements, the laws of money flow on your side for that. But if Bitcoin is pointing in the opposite direction, guess what? And Bitcoin dumps, guess what? AVAX is probably just going to fake out there. This is the importance of not focusing on altcoins. But I want the bigger percentage gains. You're chasing money. You're not going to make money trading, I promise you. It is you have to take a legitimate logistical, you have to have logic within your trading, right? You can't just say, I want the biggest gains, and it's very easy to fall victim to that. I fell victim to it for a very long time. It wasn't until, I had the same thought, right? Why would I trade Bitcoin if everything follows Bitcoin? Why don't I just trade Ethereum? I'll get a bigger percentage. Why don't I trade the altcoins? I'll get a bigger percentage. Until I saw good setups on altcoins, and then they would just not play out, and I would get wrecked because I wasn't using stop losses. And then I look at Bitcoin, I'm like, wow, Bitcoin was looking more bearish. Stick to the main asset at first. Then you could dive into the altcoins. There are plenty of opportunities on altcoins, but more often than not, they are tied to what Bitcoin does. So just be very, very, very careful. It's for someone jumping into trading to start with. It's like a beginner tip, right? It's not that you can't trade altcoins. Obviously, there's massive opportunities on altcoins, even for day trading, right? It's just if you don't understand how the market follows Bitcoin, and if Bitcoin looks super bearish, I just wouldn't have as much hope on your bullish setup on the altcoins, right? This could get stepped on if Bitcoin dumps. But from a binary perspective on the AVAX chart, money flow crosses into the green on the 3-day. You can look for higher lows and higher highs. And on top of the volume profile filling in full. That would help, right? So yeah, this is still your key level. We've now taken out the golden pocket, so I would say the next key level is going to be sitting there between the high volume node and the 786 between $26.57 and $26. If you lose this zone, guess what? I would anticipate, right? Maybe you get a bounce, a lower high, however it works out. If you lose this POC, you could start looking down towards, lose this high volume node, 786. I'd be looking down towards the POC and the value area low between 21 and 1945. So there you go. Shout out to Nirvana, said, Ada is my favorite yoga group. Shout out to Nirvana. You out there doing yoga, brother? When you're trading Bitcoin, what time frame do you usually trade on? Shout out to Angelo. Totally depends on the setup. Depends. Sometimes I'm on the lower time frames, looking for lower time frame trades. For the example of the trade that I'm holding right now, which do I have this open? Maybe I do. Yeah, this is the short position from the high, right? We're not just talking about this. The reason I am short here from the top is not just the, I'm not like jumping on the 1-minute time frame to catch that trade, right? So for that position, right, it takes patience, right? Trading is a game of trapping. You want to set your traps. In this case, this was our trap, which was on the chart ever since we made this low. So as we grind up, we say, hey, great. And we also longed 107K, right? Doesn't mean that you can't have an overall bearish mindset or a bearish bias and still make money on the longs, right? Make 2K here, make 3K here, almost 3,300, whatever this is up right now. 3,190, 3,200 bucks, right? So we can make money on the move up, but the context always has to be in the back of your mind, right? Like, where am I taking this trade? Notice, I'm not just longing and hoping this moons, right? That's not trading, that's gambling, right? But what am I thinking here? Okay, hey, we're hitting a major level of resistance. This could be an area to take profit, maybe move my stop loss, and potentially look to go short. So this key level, Mrs. Candles, come in here. Show the face, Mrs. Candles. Oh, Mrs. Candles with the haircut. No, it looks very nice, Mrs. Candles. Come on, let me see the hand. Oh, yeah, she just flops it out. You are so far away from the camera, Mrs. Candles. Well, Mrs. Candles is getting, she just stole my drink. Shout out to Mrs. Candles. Come on, pump it. Let's pump it. We sniffed the new haircut. Dang. Shout out to Mrs. Candles. Yeah, she just shaved her head. I'm just kidding. Did you get one cut or a mall cut? Mrs. Candles does not entertain the jokes, guys. She's all business. Mrs. Candles is all business. I said, did you get one haircut or a mall cut? You said you got a haircut. Nice. Looking good, Mrs. Candles. God. I love when you're on the way, but I love to watch you leave. How's that saying go? Shout out to Mrs. Candles. Yes. Mrs. Candles hands in the chat if you have the emojis. Let's go. No, I'm almost done. We got to give away some money, and then we'll be done. And she rolled her eyes. Mrs. Candles. I'm telling you guys, she's getting, I don't know. Mrs. Candles is getting out of hand here. She's uncontrollable at this point. Do you use open interest as an indicator to look at for trap short setups? Yes. Shout out to Diaz. Yes. Short answer, yes. The plastic doll is alive now. Yeah, you can see she was nice and inflated there. Her fingers were fully inflated, not leaking anymore. We patched her up. Maybe we can bounce. Mrs. Candle setting up for all-time highs. Let's go. Shout out to Subhai. Hopefully I didn't say your name wrong. Says, shout out from Syria, or shout out for Syria. Shout out to Syria. Says, please, shout out to Syria. We all in, oh, God, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that word. City in Syria. Idib? I'm going to say Idib. In Syria, follow you. We all follow you, and you have a big community here. Hey, shout out to Syria. Let's go, guys. We love our Syrians out there. Let's go. Let's see. Shout out to Chris. Said, way to go, man. Proud of all your hard work. Shout out to Chris. I appreciate you so much, man. And to be honest, it doesn't really feel like hard work. It only feels like hard work when I lay in bed at night, and I'm like, why am I so exhausted? But I'm really just having a blast up here with you guys. Forever indebted and forever grateful. Wrecked CD weekend. Yeah, I hope not. I hope not. But yeah, just kind of covering this, right? Like, what time frame do I use to trade, right? It depends, right? Sometimes I'll see a nice little setup here on the 15-minute, and we'll talk about it, and we'll look to take the trade, right? Sometimes I'm on a higher time frame waiting for a swing trade, like the long that we took here from $107,000, right? Which winds up turning into a swing trade. So it really depends, right? So it's never, I think this is a common misconception for at least the way that I trade. I am never sitting, and we talked about this in the premium Discord today, I am never getting on the chart, going to the 1 minute time frame and saying, okay, where do I buy? It's not what I do, right? There's no plan there, right? It's just like, all right, well, we're dumping now. I'm going to try a short. I'm not saying you can't do that. It's fun, right? But what I do is I start off with top-down analysis. I look at the high time frame key levels. Well, I knew ever since we made this low down here and pulled the fib, I knew this was a key level. I also knew we had a key level down here. So I long here, and I just simply wait for my key level to get hit. Well, hey, when this alert goes off and I get tapped into this key level, now I know there's a short opportunity. So I know this is a high time frame key level. So then I'll go down to a time frame, like just work your way down the time frames. Daily key level. Do I have any bearish confirmations on the lower time frames? Well, I do have bearish divergences forming here into that key level. Lower highs, higher highs. I do have lower time frame bearish divergences into this key level. Higher highs, lower highs. I do have a sweep of liquidity above this high. So high time frame bear divs, low time frame bear divs, sweep of liquidity. Well, now this looks like we might be able to continue down, right? And, the perfect entry here, in my opinion, would be taking the trade right on the SFP. You could get in right at the top. Me personally, my entry here is about $117,000. I tried to catch this retracement to the upside. I won't get into how to do that, but just to give the idea, I have high time frame bear divs, low time frame bear divs, SFP of the high into a key high time frame level of resistance. So even if this wasn't, right, so my bias there could be like, well, hey, I might want to try a short position here because this has a possibility with the daily money flow crossing into the red, right? We got the push to the upside, but money flow is in the red. What does this mean? Lackluster retracement, lower high, lower low. So the plan for that trade could be take it, not that I'm just going to hold this till we break the low and hope that it hits there, right? But I could take this position with a high probability of some kind of a reaction, and if the money flow continues into the red, if the 4-hour money flow continues into the red, well, now I'm in profit, and I'm saying to myself, well, hey, now 4-hour money flow is continuing down. What would I expect? Lower highs, lower lows. So now I can hold this, and the higher time frame buys here could support coming out and taking out this low at 107K, which is still in the cards, right? So it's all about having a plan. I'm not jumping on the 4-hour time frame or the 5-minute time frame and going, oh, now we're dumping, let me short, right? So it all starts with a plan. If we didn't come up and hit this level, which we did a couple times, right? We came up, we front ran it, right? We came up, we front ran it. And even locally here, you could see we actually came up and front ran this level very slightly. Come back up, we finally tap it right here. Now the level's tapped. Now I can look for the short. Now I look for the confirmations. Do I have them? Yes. Does that mean that this was guaranteed to play out? Because I don't want to sell a fake dream here. I did not take this trade and say 100% I'm going to make money on this trade, no stop loss. I'm still protecting myself on this position. There's still a possibility that all those confirmations get stepped on, the TA is wrong, or the TA could be right and the market just moves up. I'm not going to get wrecked on that move. I have a stop loss set. I'm only risking a certain percentage of my account. So all these things are important, right? It's never going to be like, oh, red dot short. So you have to have a plan, and it all comes together cohesively. And then you can look at the money flow, right? Well, now your 90-minute money flow is crossing into the red. Maybe you get the continuation down. Now the 4-hour money flow is crossing into the red. You can look for a lower high and a lower low, and you kind of manage that trade as it comes down. And who knows? Maybe we'll come up here next week, and we'll say, oh, it scammed out, right? I'll make money on this still because I'll take profit, and my stop loss is set, right? Or will be set or is set at break even. I think it's still set at break even. Is it still set at break even? Yeah, my stop loss is at my entry. So worst case here, I get stopped out at break even, right? But maybe we come in and, you'll see me say, well, hey, if we break down below 107K, it's like, well, hey, guys, why do we know that was likely going to be the case? Not 100%. Not, oh, my God, we tapped the golden pocket, guys. You're an idiot if you think we're going to pump. I just weigh my options, go with the higher probability setup, and even the few times where this doesn't play out, if I take small losses, it's okay, right? Because I'm risking this much to gain this much. Risk management over win rate, risk management over confidence every single time. I am never taking a short saying, guaranteed coming down. I can't say that because it's not the case. It's the fact of the matter. I can have an ego and pretend like it's definitely going to come down, but I'd be lying, right? I don't like to do that. Great stream like usual. Shout out to K Visual. Let's go, baby. The TA is mostly right. Yeah, exactly. And even if you were trading a coin flip, 50-50, use this example in the premium Discord today. You could trade a coin flip with a 50-50 win rate. If you manage your risk correctly, you can still remain profitable. Right? So let's say you take 5 trades and you lose 3 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Loss, 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 win, win. Let's say you take a 1% loss here. And not a 1% stop loss. The stop loss percentage doesn't really matter. Let's say you lose 1% of your account here, 1% of your account here, 1% of your account here. Well, you're going to make a lot more on the trades that play out. It's going to cover these losses plus profit. You can literally lose more than you win and still make money. But it comes down to your emotional discipline, your psychological control, not being greedy, not being fearful, following your plan, trading the confirmations, not getting discouraged that your strategy's not working out. This doesn't mean you have a bad strategy. I mean, maybe you do have a bad strategy, but very likely, like all these retail strategies out there are good enough to make money, right? This doesn't mean your strategy is wrong. This doesn't mean your strategy is wrong. This doesn't mean your strategy is wrong, even if it happens 3 times in a row. You have to be able to take these losses and still have confidence to take that same setup the fourth and fifth time, because more often than not, they will play out. And as long as if you take these positions with no stop loss, let's say you risk 50% of your account on each trade. Well, guess what? You can only take 2 trades. Now your account is blown up. You can't even stay in the game long enough to see the wins. But if you're risking a small amount of your account and making your losses smaller than your wins, guess what? You're going to remain profitable over time. And there's going to be times where a volume profile trade can lose 3 times in a row. I would say it's unlikely, but it definitely happens. Right? This doesn't mean volume profiles doesn't work out. This doesn't mean ICT doesn't work out. This doesn't mean your pattern trading is not working out. This doesn't mean trading liquidity doesn't work. Fibonacci levels doesn't work. It just means you have to be prepared to take these costs, these business costs, right? But they're not going to be business costs. They're going to be financial ruin if you're not managing the risk. This is proof, or not, I mean, I guess it is proof, right, that risk management beats win rate every single time. It's just math. You could lose 4 trades in a row, right, and potentially have one winner pay you out if you're managing the risk correctly. So even if you're trading a coin flip, which the strategies we trade are not a coin flip. They're right, I would say 8 out of 10 times. That's probably a little bit exaggerated too. I would probably think if I actually ran statistics, an 80% win rate is kind of crazy. But even if it's 50%, it just goes to show you can still make money. This is the most important thing in trading. You have to stay alive in the market. If you risk 1% of your account, guess what? You lose 50 trades. Let's say you have a $1,000 account and you're risking 1% per trade. If you lose 50 trades in a row, which is, in my opinion, impossible, but let's just say you lose 50 trades in a row for some reason. You have a $1,000 account. You're risking 1% of your account on each trade. You are still going to have enough money in your account to not blow up. Most people will be like, I lost the last 3 trades in a row, and now I have no more money. Well, why are you risking so much on each trade? I don't know, right? But a lot of people don't think this through. They just see, I want an indicator so I can enter and make $1 billion. I want to enter here and make $10,000 in a month. You could make $10,000 a month. Trust me, you can make more than that, right? But it doesn't come from gambling. It comes from understanding how trading actually works, how capital management works, how risk management works, how emotional management works, psychology, and your mental discipline over TA every single time, over strategy every single time. 80% of it is emotional and psychological. The rest of it is the TA. You can learn a new strategy. Hunting for a new strategy is not going to help you out, right? If you're losing, if you're trading, say I'll just say smart money concepts, right? If you're trading smart money concepts or volume profiles and you are losing all your blowing up accounts, that does not have to do with the strategy, right? Because then no one would trade those strategies if they didn't work. I would not trade that strategy if it didn't work, right? But the reason it works for me is because I manage my accounts. I manage my risk. I don't FOMO in. I don't revenge trade, right? This is not something that can be taught. It can be told, but no one can force your hand. No one can force you to follow those rules. Because at the end of the day, in the heat of the moment, when you're up and you want to close your trade, it's really hard, right? Hey, I should probably take partials here. It's resistance. But it's really hard because you're thinking like, well, hey, what if we make it up here? I'll make a lot more money, right? And then what happens? You wind up holding the trade, and maybe sometimes it goes to your target, but a lot of times what will happen is it'll turn around and you'll take that winning trade, that what should have been a winning trade, and it will turn into a losing trade. Why? Not because of the strategy, not because of the TA, because of your emotional control. It may not be your fault that Trump tweets and dumps the market. It might not be your fault that, I don't know, some black swan event happens and price dumps. But it is your responsibility to not allow that to wreck you. So when I took that short position at the golden pocket, am I going all in? Am I going all in and saying, I'm going to jump into this trade with no stop loss, and if it plays out, I make $1 billion, or if I stop out, I get wrecked? No. If I got stopped out here, it literally would not bother me at all. It's just a cost of doing business. I'm not saying divergences don't matter, SFPs don't matter anymore, the system doesn't work. I'm just saying I know that even with confirmations, trades can get stopped out. This is the part of the game. This is what trips a lot of people up. They get stopped out of 3 trades in a row. You might have a losing week, a losing month, and you're like, I got to find a new strategy. You're taking a step backwards, right? As long as you're trading a legit strategy. But again, trade a coin flip with good risk management. You could probably make money. But anyway, I digress. Let's see. Shout out to Rudy, said I can't help but this feels like you're directing this at me. Shout out to Rudy. Probably a lot of people feel like that. If you feel like that, the reason you feel like that is because when I talk like this, the reason I'm so passionate about this is because I was in your exact situation. I chased every strategy. I chased every indicator. No matter how many times I would see that, oh, this isn't, you can't just find an indicator that'll make you profitable. Guess what I was doing? I was still like, yeah, you know what? Screw these guys. If I could just, right? And then you go buy, sell, right? I'd look at buy, sell, right? Buy and sell indicator. Buy and sell signals, right? And I would look at this, right? And I would say to myself, I'll just use Market Cipher as an example. Right? When I found Market Cipher, I was thinking like, this is interesting. Green dot, up. Red dots, down. All I have to do is wait for a green dot and buy, and price will go up, right? I thought it was going to be that easy. If it was that easy, guess what, guys? I would have a bot here to buy on every green dot and sell on every red dot. And if it was as easy as it looks to make money doing that, I would not learn I would never learn more advanced strategies. I wouldn't learn how to combine this with Fibonacci levels or liquidity or anything like that. If it was that easy, I would have probably never done this, right? I probably would just be laying somewhere with a bot printing me billions and billions and billions of dollars automatically. If it was that easy, everybody would do it. But the reason I'm so passionate about this is because I'm talking to my old self. that was trying to get rich overnight, that was trying to take the shortcut. There is no shortcut. The shortest path to making money trading is the long way. Because if you try to take the shortcut, you're just going to run in and chase something that doesn't exist. And guess what that does? It extends the time it takes for you to actually start making money. So if you just initially dive into the long road, you are actually taking the shortest path to making money. I'll leave it at that. Shout out to Gerard says, I'm only a holder. Trading is kind of scary to me. Shout out to Gerard. That's a lot of self-awareness there. And that's okay. That's okay. Not everybody you don't have to be a trader. In order to enter the giveaway, you must like and subscribe. Yeah, shout out to Gen Z. So let's run the giveaways here. I just wanted to drop some sauce for you guys because I know there's a lot of people in here that genuinely want to change their life. They want to learn the skill of trading, which is the most scalable, no salary cap having, no boss ass having job you can have, right? Make money from your computer on your own time. Now, you do have a boss. It is the market. But it is the most powerful thing, in my opinion, the best high-level income skill you can have. But doctors don't just get a stethoscope and now they make $1 billion as a doctor, right? They have to go to school. They have to do a residency. It's a lot of hard work. That's why everyone's not just a doctor, right? It takes time. It's the same thing with trading. You can't not know how to play basketball and then just get one basket in, right? Because you just launched it from across the court. It happened to go in. Now you're in the NBA. No, it's really hard to get into the NBA. You have to practice. There's discipline, diet, all this stuff, training, and you have to probably have some natural talent. But it's the same thing, right? You can't expect to just get into the NBA automatically, right? And I wouldn't consider trading. I'm maybe a similar success rate, but nothing. My point is nothing worthwhile comes easy, right? Like when you see all these people making a ton of money, you don't see what it took to get there, right? You only see the outcome. That's why I'm so passionate, because I'm talking to my old self. Like, bro, stop chasing I would tell you, stop chasing the indicators, bro. Stop chasing the new strategy. You're looking for it to be easy. The end of the day, trading is not easy. It's just not. Even me, now, when I take this trade, sure, it's a little bit easier on my head because I just know, right? It's binary. I have my confirmations. I tap the key level. I take the trade. But if it stops out, that's okay, right? I'm not freaking out if I get stopped out because I'm using good risk management. So even here, I'm thinking hey, I even said to the Discord, hey, we have the POC up here. We might scam out of this position, but my confirmations are here. That equals take the trade, whether it plays out or not. If it didn't play out, guess what? The next time I saw this setup on the chart with the same confirmations into a key level like that, I'm still taking the trade even if the last one didn't play out because I know over time it's going to win. So there you go. Little extra sauce for people who actually want to put in work and change their life through trading. So anyway, let's continue on. Shout out to Tony D. Winners are announced. Let's go. Shout out to Wick589, Arthi, Bala, Rocket Canty, Luigi the brother, Gen Z, Nirvana, Rudy, LTX, and I think it says Metalege. Shout out to you guys. You guys won some free either Cardano or USDT. I'm not 100% sure which one. But yeah, congratulations to the winners. Let's go. 100% Frankie, my number one issue is greed. Most of my trades are right, but greed gets you. Absolutely. Shout out to 12 Big. Shout out to 12 Big. You have to look within. I'm telling you. It's hard. It's difficult. I hit my head I was hitting my head against a brick wall for very longer than I had to, guys. I did not have to take as long as I did to actually make money trading. I made it hard on myself, right? Because it really is simple. There are so many, and this is why I don't shove my strategy down people's throats. If you want to trade smart money concepts, I'm not going to sit here and be like, no, you have to trade my strat. No, because people make money trading smart money concepts. You know why? Because there's no just end all be all strategy. Most of them work. The profitability comes down to the trader. I can tell you this right now. I can take a trade. Let's just say I wanted to long here. I could take a long here and make money, and 100 other people could take this long and lose money. How is that possible, right? Well, it's because I've built the intangibles, right? I've built the discipline. I've built the emotional control. I've built the power and the skill of sitting on my hands and sticking to an actual system and actually managing the trade, not gambling. You know, if I say, hey, guys, guaranteed we're going to bounce here. Well, if you take a long here, right? Well, I'm going to say, let's say there's a beautiful setup here, not guaranteed. Right? If I take a long position here, even if I felt it was guaranteed, I'm still managing the risk. This doesn't mean I'm just all in, no stop loss, right? I'm still sticking within my risk parameters. So if this doesn't play out, guess what? I come back to the chart tomorrow and I find another setup. But most people will take that trade and they lose 50% of their account. Well, guess what? Now they can only do that twice and now their account's blown up. Why would you not want to risk And the reason a lot of people won't want to risk 1% is because they might not be able to trade with big enough position size. They might think, well, hey, if it goes up here and I take a X amount position size, I'll make a ton of money. But if that makes you risk more than 1 to 2% of your account or whatever your percentage that you've decided you want to do, if it's more than that, well, guess what? If you're risking 50% of your account here, well, you could take 2 trades and you're out of the game. But if I'm risking 1 to 2%, guess what? I can lose this trade, I could lose the next trade, I could lose the next trade, and then the next one that plays out, I make money. But guess what? The person who took the 50% losses here, they're not even trading anymore because they lost all their money. I should make a video about this. This is the important thing. Setups are fire, right? TA's fire. Strategy's fire, sure. But you could trade the same strategy as me. You could take the same trades as me. And there are a million people out there that would still lose money, and I will still make money. And the reason for it is not because of it's the same stuff, right? It is all psychological. I don't recommend trading coin flips, by the way. I'm just using that to kind of like put it into perspective. Do the math in your head. I'll just do this. I'm not going to share the actual thing, but I have the math here. If you have a $1,000 account, you risk 1% of your account. 50 straight losses. You take 50 straight losses on a $1,000 account with 1% risk. How much money do you think is left in the account? $605. That means you could lose 50 trades in a row and still have more than half your account left. If you take a 50% risk, you're losing 2 trades. Who's going to make more money? The guy blowing up in 2 trades or the guy who's giving himself a 1% risk? Now, if you lose 100 straight trades in a row, you'll have $366 left in your account. If you lose 200 straight trades in a row, you are a gifted individual. You have a special talent. Even if you did that, you would still have $134 in your account. Right? So if you're taking a trade and you're panicking, but if this loses, you have no risk management strategy, and it's going to be very hard for you to make money in the market. And this is the hard truth that not a lot of people want to hear. They just want the get-rich-quick scheme. It's not. It's a fake dream. You could get rich, you can make money quick, but the road to get to that point, people don't see that road. My road was long, multiple years before I actually started making money. And guess what? It wasn't a magic strategy. If I wanted to trade a different strategy, if I wanted to go from volume profiles to ICT, I would still make money trading ICT. And if I didn't, it would be because I wasn't managing the risk correctly and I was gambling. Hopefully that makes sense. Strategy does not always equal why you're not making money. Sometimes it might, right? But more often than not, most strategies are profitable enough to make money. If you're losing, it is on you. Might not be your fault that Trump tweets, but it's your responsibility to not let it wreck you out of the market. I'll leave that at that. Very important. I know a lot of people just want to tell me when to buy and sell. This is why I push back against that so much. It's because it's not how it works, right? And if you actually want to make money, if I just wanted views, if I was interested in just getting as many subscribers or just getting people to buy into my course or whatever it is, I would just tell you it's the best strategy. You got to get in my Discord. You got to get in my YouTube channel membership. I would just do that, right? But I am genuinely want to help people make money. And this is I have to tell you the hard truth, right? Because I had to learn the hard truth. Everyone who told me manage your risk, don't gamble, I'd be like, loser, boring. Right? But guess what? It didn't help me make money. And then once I took the boring route, the slow route, that's when I started making money. Now I could be sitting on a plane and pay for the trip that I'm taking on the plane on my phone. I didn't get there in week 1, week 2, month 2, month 3, month 4, year 2, right? It takes time to learn the skill. And some people are faster than others. Maybe you could click bet. Maybe you're less emotional. Maybe you're not as thick-headed as I am. And maybe you could get it a lot quicker. But one thing I can tell you is if you understand these fundamentals, you will become profitable so much faster. You will make money way faster. I actually personally got on the wrong track, right? I was started on the wrong track, went on the right track, and then slipped into old ways. Then I'm really thinking it's a scam. I'm like, no way. I was doing so good. And you have to be self-aware. You have to be self-aware. But anyway, let's continue on. Shout out to New Earth Guardian said, I'm going to be honest. I tried every strategy for over a year and I found my own profitable system. Shout out to New Earth Guardian. Let's go, bro. Hell yeah. Maybe we should do a series where I trade coin flips. And we try to manage the risk and see if we can remain profitable. We'll see. That'd be hurt my if someone I wouldn't trade moon phases, right? But if someone trades moon phases and they cut their losers and hold their winners, they're probably going to win, right? Let's see. Amina says so don't lose more than 1 to 2%. So you don't lose more than 1 to 2% what you set aside for futures trading per day, per week, per month. Sorry, I left for a shower. Probably missed the setup. Yeah, shout out to Amina. I would just say when I say risk, right? If let's just say you have a $100 account. I go over this. I've gone over this before on the live stream. Let's say you have a $100 account, right? Risking 1% does not mean you can only put $1 on the trade. You're not taking $1 trades, right? Especially if you're leverage trading. What it means is when you get stopped out, watch Tony D. Can you drop the only leverage trading tutorial you need to see in the chat? If you watch this video, I show you examples and I explain it in full. What it means by taking 1%. 1% of 100. Hang on. Let me do the math. I'm just kidding. So 1% of 100 is obviously 1, right? So that means that you're only willing to risk $1 on each trade. This means that if you get stopped out of your position, you only lose $1. And it doesn't have to be $1. It could be $1. It could be $2. It could be $5. It could be 50. It could be 50%, right? As long as you know the math, right? You can't be tripping if you're like, what the heck? I took 2 trades and I lost all my money, right? Well, if you chose to risk 50% of your account, just understand that you're only going to be able to take two losing trades, right? Well, it depends if you keep the percentage consistent. I won't get into it. But let's just say you risk $50 on one trade. If you get stopped out, you lose $50. And then on the next trade, you risk $50 again. You can only take 2 trades and you'll get wrecked, right? That's fine as long as you understand why that happened, right? I think a lot of people just don't think of this. So this means that if you get stopped out of this trade, you only lose $1, right? If you want to risk 2%, obviously you would only lose $2. This does not mean that your position size, the amount of the trade, is $1, right? You could put $50 on the trade on 2x leverage, right, or whatever, 10x leverage, whatever you want, right? So you could have a bigger position size, and almost every exchange, and you'll see it. There it is. I'm going to pin this. Actually, I'll leave the winner's pin. But if you guys check out that video, we're about to wrap up the live stream. So if you go right there and watch that video, I show you on most exchanges when you enter a position, when you set your stop loss, it will say, if this order is filled, you will lose X amount. So an easy way to calculate that is just make your position size, and then as long as that stop loss percentage, if this order is filled, you're going to lose X dollars. As long as that X dollars is 1 to 2 to 5, whatever percentage you want to use, as long as that equals your account. So for $100, if I wanted to risk 1%, before I enter the trade, it will tell you, if this order is filled, you will lose X amount. That number has to be $1, or I'm not risking 1% of my account. So there you go. Little sauce, guys. But anyway, let's just do one more check-in on Bitcoin. What's she doing here? She bouncing? Oh, she's trying to push up. Yeah, she's trying to get above that 786. But, guys, if we get a push up over the weekend, these are the biggest levels to look at. One more time, I'll give them to you. 112.74 and 111.211. Above that, you have the 786 value area high at 112.944 to 112.766. Be careful of lower highs and lower lows there. We'll see if we can get this 8-hour green dot with our 30-minute money flow crossover, which we are seeing right now. So low time frame bounce is possible. Got to get back above the value area low. Just be careful around these resistance levels. If we break above $113,000, the next big level to look at is going to be 114,322 and 115,937. If something crazy happens over the weekend, maybe I'll drop a market update. But hopefully this helps you guys out. Hopefully this gives somebody some insight into if you really want to change your life through trading, day trading, swing trading, even investing, you can use the same kind of or similar risk management. It would be a little bit different, but if someone out there, if you're looking to learn how to trade, just don't chase the money. If you chase the money, it will run from you. You have to. Trading is a defensive sport, right? You have to protect your capital. I'm not a big gambler, right? When I go to Vegas, I don't really like gambling that much. I take an amount of money that I would literally throw out the window, and I see that as buying a night out with my friends to spend some money and have fun playing games. If I walk out with more, great. If I walk out with less, cool. I spent $5,000 on a night out, whatever it is. So don't look at trading like that, though, right? You have to look at it as a skill you need to build to protect your capital. The point of trading is to stay in the game, to fight and live to fight another day. That is the point of trading. If you don't do that, this is why trading has such a high failure rate. They get in, they get wrecked. They get in, they get wrecked. Especially on leverage. If you don't know how to use leverage, it's very easy to turn it into gambling. But if you are getting wrecked trading and blowing up your accounts, that is very likely because of your psychology and because you have no plan, not because your strategy is not working, as long as you're using a legit strategy. So keep that in mind. Hopefully that helps you guys out, and hopefully I broke through. If I helped one person understand this stuff, I pray. If it helps you out, let me know in the chat. It really helps to understand if you guys are just lost or if it is actually helping you. So thank you for being here. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Did I pull up the face cam here? Yeah. So thank you guys for tuning in. Have a great weekend. Enjoy. Don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive, guys. I want to see all of you back here next week. If anything crazy happens, I'll drop a market update. And with all that being said, guys, that's all the time we got for today. I'll see you next month. I'll see you next Monday. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the f is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Spit shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working, I'm up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
We hit 550 likes, guys. We hit 550. You know what that means. Frankie Candles hats. We got 3 hats. I texted Tony. I don't know. He might still be here. Probably is. Oh, he just... Tony's got 2 phones. 1 for the candles and 1 for the hats. All right, so he's pulling the next 3 giveaways, guys. We got 3 Frankie Candles hats. Who are they going to go to? Come on, baby. Come on. I only have 1 Frankie Candles hat here, which is the Navy and I don't know what this is called. Maybe Navy and Coffee, I think maybe it's called. This is my favorite one. But, yeah. Let's go. Shout out to Tony D. Come on, baby. Come on. We all love the hat. Shout out to Wolf of Crypto. Let's go. And, hey. These hats the Richardson 112s, guys. I'm not gonna go into a whole thing, but they are the Louis Vuitton of hats. They are the Rolls Royce, not the Louis Vuitton. They're the Rolls Royce of hats. Most comfortable, well-shaped, formed to your head hats that you can possibly have. Come on, baby, come on. Tony D hacking the mainframe. Frankie fake out giveaways are nice. Let's go. And we got kind of the OGs chilling around. Obviously, most people leave before the end of the stream, but they're going to miss out on the hats. Let's go. I got the shout out to Nick Dunn said, I got the dark gray. I love it. Richardson 112 crew, baby. Yeah, shout out to Nick Dunn. Sometimes I see people out in public, and I'll be walking with Mrs. Candles, and they'll have like a totally different hat on. But I'll be like, that's a Richardson 112. That guy knows what he's doing. Oh, man. Let's go. Shout out to Brad Jones. Let's go. Frankie the GOAT. Shout out to you, brother. I have a hat still from a couple of years ago. I'll donate mine to the next in line if I win. Shout out to Slim. Let's go, baby. I appreciate that, bro. Let's see. Hat winner is Joe Mama. I'm not making fun of your mom. That's his name, guys. Shout out to Joe Mama. Shout out to Trading Machine. And shout out to Kalechi Agucha. I don't know if I said that right, but congratulations. You guys got some free hats. Shout out to the Cardano giveaways or USDT giveaway winners as well. Congratulations to the winners. Let's go. Thank you for being here, guys. I appreciate every single one of you. Have a safe weekend. And yes, you could drink soda and drive. Just don't drink alcohol and drive. Be safe. I want to see everybody in here next weekend. And have a good time. And touch some grass. Stay off the charts for the weekend unless this is your only day to trade. But yeah, go touch some grass. You guys know I won't. Shout out to Wolf of Crypto. Shout out to Wick589. Shout out to Dennis. Shout out to Walking Dead. Shout out to Gen Z Joe Mama. Congratulations, bro. And last but not least, shout out to the Future West. Said I could use a new one. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for being here. I'll see you guys on Monday. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Mrs. Candles is so pissed. I gotta go. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road.